Welcome to everyone who is here. This is our first Tesoro Invitational. We've been here for a year. Y'all open up some mics and make some noise because there were folks who really thought we wouldn't survive this one.
Yay.
Congratulations.
I am so incredibly pleased and proud. We have managed to hang in for an entire year. We have done some absolutely fantastic things. This started as a dream. And then it became a need. All of you already know this story, but for the folks who will see this later and for the folks who don't know, I was getting really, really tired of seeing women not able to do their work in spaces where it was supposed to be all right for us to do our work. I would go to open mics or workshops or whatever and see women condescended to, harassed, put down, stalked. There were stories floating through the slam world, particularly, of everything from harassment to assault. It was ridiculous. And so I naively thought that when we went online, because of the pandemic, that things would get better. They got worse. And I sat here on open mics watching the same thing, watching people be harassed, watching people be stalked, watching people be insulted for what it was they were trying to say or put out there. And I couldn't take it anymore. I really couldn't. Now, I had the idea of an all-women's collective for a while, but didn't really have a focus outside of the fact that my mission statement has always been to keep women's voices in the wind. I had done it twice before. I figured, what the heck, I'm going to do it one more time before I die. But there was one event that I sat in, and I am watching a male poet who's probably in his late 50s virtually stalk this young woman who was on stage. She was maybe 21, 22. It was in front of God and everybody, and she didn't know what to do. She didn't know how to react. And rather than the host shutting it down, he was egging it on. And that was it. I snapped, like, we have to do something about this. You all are the proof that I am not the only woman in the world who wanted to do something about this. We are here because we are the gatekeepers for safe, protected women's spaces being created and maintained. We are Tesoro, and we are the hottest fire singers on the planet. We have among us, good Lord, teachers, doctors, professors, students. We have a cosmetologist on board for, when we finally get to, where we need to look really good. If there's something that needs to be done, we've got it on board. But the big thing is that we are creating those spaces wherever we are and whatever we're doing. We are making those paths, we are keeping those places clear. And that's what we're here for. On a completely personal tip, you all are beyond blessed because you are helping me build, create, and maintain a legacy. I always wanted to make a mark on the planet before I left. Tesoro is making me able to do that. So open up the mics and give yourselves a mad round of applause because you are making me, part of the world scene, even when I'm not here. Really open up your mics, make some noise. I'm sitting here. It's really funny. I'm sitting here watching you guys, be so, demure and quiet, and I know better. Okay, so excuse me. So be rowdy, okay? Because that's what y'all do best. It's the second thing you do best. We started this with, I'm wanting to say 20 members. We now, if I'm counting right, have 32. We have expanded into storytellers, novelists, playwrights, publishers, any woman who works with words. We started with poets because that's my backyard. But we have expanded that, are expanding that. We now run not one, but two open mics. Pen and Sword, where Marissa product, y'all open up your mics. Marissa slayed last night.
Marissa.
Okay.
Yeah, Marissa.
So we have Pen and Sword, which is a general open mic, but the one that is closest to my heart is Woman Heart. That is the only one of its kind. We are a unicorn, y'all. The presenter, the host, always forever female. But the thing about Woman Heart is that the audience is female as well. Okay, so it is completely, strictly for women and folks who identify as women. We will shortly be starting workshops. One is Fire Scribe, which will be for women only and those who identify as women. The other will be mixed. I haven't gotten a name for it yet, but we'll be starting those fairly soon. So we've got 2 open mics going on, and then we have the Aperitif Concert Series, which is still running, which will continue to run so long as there are women who want to put their voices into the wind. So I think we'll be running for a little while. We have done well. We haven't raised a ton of money, but we've raised a little money. We've raised enough to keep our lights on. There will be more forthcoming because I'll be writing grants like a crazy person. We have all manner of events on the ground that are being planned. We've been invited to be part of Marissa's Writer Summit in September. So we will be there in force. With any luck at all, I'll be able to go ahead and start something on the ground here in San Diego. Eventually, it will get to the point where there is a Tesoro Center in every major city in the United States. And then after that week, we'll go ahead and take over, all the rest of the continent. We have members in Australia.
Yeah, go ahead, girl.
In members in Australia, in Portugal, in England, in South Africa. So we're good. We've got almost all the continents covered. Antarctica, we haven't gotten there yet, but I'm working on it. So all of that said, again, for the last time, ladies, open up your mics, give yourselves a mad round of applause because the party is about to start. Okay, I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on introductions for folks. I'm just going to give a quick little kind of like one-line thing. This first poet is one of our newest poets, and I fell across her at an open mic and listened to her spin and said, okay, you're one of us. Come here. So please give it up for Chris Dickinson.
Ow! Thank you. Thanks, Stacey. My first poem is Cropping the Verse. She slices herbs clean from the stem with a nail, catches a breath of leaves bruised for the table, scoops a tangle of flowers. Trailing a rift, the writer crops the verse, pockets a windfall. Late letters loop page on page, a rumble of thoughts in a train, moments of small talk, smudges of colour, the tang of turned earth. She tugs words, a rag through canvas, snips a scrap, lays a rug at our feet. It's the pick of the bunch, fine art, a turn of phrase in the air, the cut to the heart in a line, a bouquet. So, why not make a song and a dance about it? Tune in to the new lyrics, give the voice a chance, become an hour with tales of lost lives, boasts of buccaneers, their flaws, a refugee chasing a star, courtship, our centuries of ghosts. But first, we locate the password, switch into Zoom, adjust our chairs, unmute the microphone. Mindful of each turn, we can raise the roof of this or any room. Stillness will come soon enough at the end, packed up, thoughts sent flying back to a warm home with family or alone at the end, missing the company. We keep pace in these unsteady times, at odds with rhythm or an even rhyme, the tap, tap of feet pulsing the ground, stepping to the sounds of our poetry. Yeah.
Yeah, that was so dope.
Hey.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. And last, a pot of tea and a book. On the sofa, a puddle of spring sun, ample temptation to heat the kettle, settle for a brew of tea. Green jasmine suits the afternoon. Too much caffeine needles the skin, but oh, there were times. In the old days, I'd quaff the black stuff, 1 half-pint mug after another, drink Friends, a builder, the plumber, under the table. I never had too much then, or enough. These days, we stay in touch with our bones, the grate when a joint sticks, our weak links, the dodgy digestion, a growing intolerance. A book in these shorter days restores. It's wicked, like lying under cover with a torch in bed, flicking the pages beneath the desk in school. I could read my life away while others work, bask in the perks of a pensioner. A good novel blocks pain faster than aspirin or Panadol. Our orange penguins turned yellow, autumnal, leaves clumped and curling, prints smudged, greased with youth, dusted with neglect. Unfit to read, pulping was a last resort. I binned Turgenev, Orwell, Wyndham, in homage to my 20s. I can't recall a world without the written word. Mornings lit up with the intimate hope of a comic, sunny stories, Blyton's the only magazine I write, the Beano. Later, the magic of C.S. Lewis, sailing with Arthur Ransom, a thumb through the uncut pages of Dickens on a dusty shelf. Austen, the Bronte Bells, George Eliot, Beauvoir's The Second Sex. In the 70s, writers unlatched new ways to live. O'Brien, Weldon, and Shocked, Young's Fear of Flying, Rape from Marilyn French in the women's room. Denying books stifles the generation of hope. We know about book burning, how it turns a soul to ash. Buried thoughts bide their time, breed twice as fast. In these times, I need words, not deeds. Friends to drink tea, share books, say what they think, set our world to rights, dose me up with common sense. Thank you.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
What y'all didn't know is she's
Yes.
actually the third generation after Emily Dickinson. She's related. I didn't think she wanted everyone to know, but I'm gonna tell you.
Christine, thank
Wow.
you so much. Perfect beginning to what it is
Yep.
we're doing. Y'all,
Yep.
like I said, feel free. Y'all did the perfect thing. Open up your mics, holler for folks. We are good. This is just party time.
You know, it's messed up when you tell me to open up my mic, girl.
I know,
That
but that's
was
okay.
great, Chris.
Thank you.
Okay. Next up, I distinctly remember when I met as such, because I always have to, I speak to y'all so much and about you so much, I have to remember most of you I've never met in person. And I haven't met this woman in person. I met her on an open mic of a friend, a mutual friend. And I remember her flashing on screen, and I'm sitting there and I'm going, oh my God, she's 5. And this is going to be a lot of cheerleader angst. And maybe this would be a good time for me to go and get a Coca-Cola with some extra ice because, and she opened up her mouth, and as I have been known to say, diamonds fell out. I was beyond enthralled. This is a major, major voice among all of the voices that I have heard in the last 3 years. Welcome to the mic, Tori Lutz.
Tori.
Woo! Let's go,
Let's
Tori!
go. Let's go, Tesoro. Woo!
I always know that it's me that you're introducing because my age keeps getting progressively younger. Every time you do it, it's like, oh, this, 15-year-old, this 12-year-old girl, this 5-year-old, this fetus.
One of these days, honey, I'll introduce you as, 50 and change, and it'll be okay. It'll even out.
Oh God. Thank you so much as always. Your introductions always make me blush. But I wanted to start today with the time that I have by doing a poem that I think kind of connects to like the point of what Tesoro is, and a poem that I wrote kind of when I was really feeling myself and kind of feeling recovered from a lot of negative thoughts I had about myself. So this poem is called Body Paint. My body is a motherfucking canvas. One I have not always been kind to. It has been left in burning buildings, drowned in thick paint, and damaged by knives for people who've indicated it would look better as confetti. My body is not here to decorate your party, but it is here to dance, to carry me from room to room as we outgrow the spaces we occupy, and it's past time to stop caring about the people we leave behind in the process. They have always been free to move with us, and this work of art can still thrive spotlit in its own gallery. My body is not Barbie-sized, but at least it won't snap under its own weight. It is strong. It has learned to showcase its pain as beauty, even when I punched my own holes in it for not looking differently. My body is a money-making machine, so long as I hate it properly. If I'm feeling myself today, I'm still expected to lie about it, because to be devastatingly insecure is to be humble, and to be humble is to be gentle, is to be feminine, is to be on the right road to heaven. Who cares if the vehicle is in a casket as long as my makeup is fresh? My body is a Jackson Pollock style masterpiece. Every ugly color I or you or he or she has slung upon it has melded into a goddamn rainbow. And I know any critic who says they can make the exact same design is not unkind, but foolish. And I pity them. No canvas should spend its lifetime pristine, fresh, blank, and regardless of whether it is beautiful to you, my body is proud to say it's the spitting image of a flawless mess of paint. Thank you.
Preach.
Oh
Yeah,
my
Tori.
God.
Come on, girl.
Damn.
Yep,
Go in.
Yes.
Thank
I
you.
love the fire.
And then I'm going to do a poem that might be in my next book, depending on what my next book ends up being, because I have ADHD that manifests in the form of having about 5 work in progresses at the same time. And it's kind of they all race to see who's going to get finished first. And so we'll see. I don't even know what my next book is, but this might be in it. This is called Coca-Cola and Cigarettes. I don't smoke, and soda makes my teeth hurt, but I miss tasting like you instead of ironed and chewed lips. I wish I still wondered how your day's going and let my fingers dance over your contact, spotlit by my phone screen, instead of knowing you never really cared whether or not I asked. I don't smell you laced between the fabric of my shirt anymore, but I still haven't washed it yet. It might come back. It might still be there if I don't squeeze it too tight tonight, or maybe you'll touch it again someday. I don't get wasted anymore, because what if I call you? What if I slur your name, your memory all over your voicemail? But what if on second thought you pick up this time? So now I guess I smoke. Now I guess I drown myself in liters of rum and Coke. And then I have one more. And before I do it, I am going to pub my book really quickly. This
Of
is
course.
Schoolyard Crushes and Prozac
Woo-hoo.
Prescriptions.
Yeah.
The only
Woo.
reason I'm not reading from it today is because I have a lot of new stuff and I want to do some new stuff. But I would very much love if you could support me by buying my book. I will drop my link tree in the chat section after.
Yes, please do.
And there will be plenty of poems in here too. But I have one more that's called Flowers Die Anyway. I don't want your lilies at my funeral. I don't want your tears saturating my coffin. They have no place in my space of rest. If you had no interest in eulogies, in love letters, dressing downs, or apologies for me while I was still breathing, you don't get to partake in them when I can't speak back, can't question your intentions, or get to share the lines that I had written for better or for worse with ire or while smitten about you too. Closure is a lie that helps us lie better in the dark, to sleep tight at night so the nightmares don't bite and the guilt doesn't muddy the soles of your red bottoms. When I'm gone, I don't transform into a box you need to check off or a door to finally, gently, mercifully ease shut. If the only time you consider the grass to be greener around me is when it's freshly resting above me, you don't deserve to water it. The flowers my body nourishes in life and in death are labors of love for those who helped prune them, who loved them when they were dirt, when they were hardest to love, when there was no guarantee there'd ever be a blossom to show for it. Do not misread my elegy. Arrogance thrives where empathy fails. I know our tragedy has two sides to the tombstone. I know I grabbed the dirt scraped from the floor of my rock bottom and blinded you with it. I know when you left, it wasn't in the middle of a party or an acceptance speech laced with words shaped like roses celebrating you. I know my lungs or my hugs felt like handcuffs and my tears tasted of acid. And I was so consumed by conducting this cacophony that was warping into a death march of blame games and breaking bottles and wailing designed to take down everyone in the audience seated close enough down with me. But I always thought if you were to walk away, there would have been more rubble left in the wake. Cries instead of silence, mourning instead of aversion, ruins instead of air too thick to choke on, yet too transparent to watch it drift above my reach. If you could walk away so easily, keep walking. If you could change the topic so quickly, keep talking. If your image of me at my worst was enough to define me by for the rest of my life, it should suffice for the obituary. I don't want your lilies at my funeral. I don't want your carnations on my grave. Thank you.
Come on,
Well,
girl.
shoot.
Oh my God. Wow.
Wow.
Amazing.
Wow, wow, wow.
Truly
Wow.
amazing.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Unbelievable.
And I'll drop my link tree, and that has all my socials, my book link, everything. So
Fantastic.
thank you so much.
And all of you do that, as a matter of fact. If you've got something to shill, put it in the chat. Make sure we see it. Coming up next. Oh my word, this poet. I have watched this poet evolve, and that's always a really fascinating, fun thing for me. The material that she was working with when I knew her was, how shall I say, fierce but tentative. And then the tentative went away and it just became pure fire. So, stepping up to torch our mic, please welcome Sky's the Limit.
Thank you.
Yes, guys.
Oh, guys.
Thank you very much. I'm gonna just jump right into it.
Yeah, burn it up, girl.
Thank you. War is defined on Google by Oxford Languages as a state of armed conflict between different nations or states or different groups within a nation or state. But this war started before people of color could be armed, made us out to be a threat and a target to those keeping that which they didn't rightfully get. The war on Black history is successful even more than the war on meth, but the powers that be are killing us. So how is this legit? Because the rules of war have always been broken as the pen of racism keeps being pulled again. Boom! They thought an explosion would make over the nation, not realizing our ancestors were the bones and skin of this foundation. Their ignorance is the reason our bodies were strewn and why our lives and our people were screwed. We hang our anger to dry because we can't speak these admissions, yet microaggressions toward our community are in their terms and conditions. This war makes deception not only encouraged, but required. Every fact of Black history has been laced and tripwired. Booby traps and bloodstained hands hide in the faces that surround me. I try to escape to serenity, but discrimination has found me, binding me till I'm bound, their thoughts nailing me like Christ. I'm trying to help others, but this time I'm the one who could use advice. Only the wrong mouths open, spilling death on minorities. And it's funny that if shooting victims are not people of color, they are higher priority. It's funny the urgency when people yell fire unless you put a gun behind it, but they have to know who's being shot before they decide to mind it. Boom. Holding hands in the air works better on flame ignition than people with ammunition. Peace is only good if the other person respects it. Society tends to reward the people who remain silent and accept it. It also tells me to keep calm and pray, but teaching me in the same breath to pray myself away. So when someone says that God loves me, I wonder, are they planning on putting me in the grave today? America fathers injustice, only begetting the word war the moment I declare what I'm fighting for. When did Karen's Lives Matter become a silent movement? Groups of people called Karens are not inclusive clubs. Black people can try to join, but we'd be in danger that moment thereof. Karen's Lives Matter more, for they get better fame. There's spots on social media where they can apologize off the blame. This lack of empathy is sweeping the nation. What was once called harassment is now internet sensations, the newest live streamed events to rewind Black history recorders. I feel like this life has so much law, but never enough freaking order. So don't put your hands in your pockets if you're any shade of brown, because you never know when these types of fragility have guns around. Boom. I'm told that because I moved here that I technically could have stopped this, but systemic poverty kept me in a city where racism's not a suitable topic. They say it's microscopic, irrelevant to current events, yet they want to keep laws and people in power to protect the richest 1%. I'm tripwired and I'm sentenced to the 13th Amendment for slavery is only illegal if a judge says I'm innocent. Funny how people don't see color until money's involved. Funny how people don't see color until they have a murder unsolved.
Yep.
If I'm not smiling, I'm deemed angry or sassy. And if I'm not too careful, police will not walk past me. The definition of war isn't accurate for the situation because I wasn't born with weapons yet at risk for assassination. Boom. Smoke from a barrel. Another life snuffed, another hand shaken, another cover up, but I refuse to be forgotten and my memory will stand. Even if my blood runs through the thick of one's hands, wars began. And some may be revolutionary, but legacies always stay because they aren't defined by an Oxford dictionary.
Yeah.
That's the
Wow.
first one.
You
Well,
better
sugar.
Boom.
Uh-oh. Go in,
Woo.
poet.
You brought the
Thank you.
fire.
Yes, Geyser.
Thank you. I'm gonna end
As
with this.
always.
Thank you so much.
Universal limit, not sky's the limit.
Thank you so much. I'm gonna end with a really short piece. May I wipe the love from your lips with my tongue, casually swiping right, taking your inhibitions. Would you use my mouth as your personal serviette so it could sip every facet,
Oh,
every
shit.
fold of your skin, drinking you in as my personal sin? Sinking down your shirt like a portion of gin, a nice touch to my passions that you'd easily swallow. This time, no more platters, yes, lest my thirst would seem hollow. A thirst like a hunger, you're ending my drought. I'm finding it hard to look without craving. Craving, craving. Saving you was a lust even blood could respect, as the appetite needs quenching for my bite on your neck. Modern hickeys have nothing on a vampire's kiss, but no other hemoglobin ever tasted like this. Thank you.
Let's go, Skyza!
Yes. Guys, wow.
Wow.
My word.
Yep.
Oh my word. Okay, moving right along. Coming up next. This poet, again, just such a surprise the first time I saw her. The first time I saw her was online. And she has this habit of sitting there and looking quiet and innocent and demure. And then you find yourself on the floor after she speaks, wondering what truck hit you. I've been known to describe poets as death of a thousand cuts poets. You don't know you're bleeding until after the sword is back in the sheath. This woman exemplifies that. Please give it up for Diosa X.
Yes! Elsa!
Ow! Boom. All right, jump in. Empty space is never empty. I have the power to either carry you away or knock you down. The inhale that oxygenates every cell, the exhale that releases all that no longer serves. The dragon of the east, Shang-Chi, the breath of the winged fire demon, the polar easterlies, the Santa Ana winds, that which fuels a fire, that which sustains life. As I envelop the earth, I move in all directions, for I am a Libra, and the winds will always be in my favor. Thank you. All right.
Yes.
Go Libra. Any cat lovers in the house? Felina, here we go. You don't know how to approach her? Too fucking scary, you say? Pues que chingados le hiciste, güey? Aw, did your little pussycat turn feral? Did she turn her fertile womb sterile? I wonder why. Why is it until now you discover this hidden jaguar within this mujer dormida, this mujer gigantemente, brutalmente encendida, who of all felid species has the strongest and most powerful mordida? Damn right que ella sacó las garras pa' filetearte sin medida. You should be fucking scared de esa poderosa, feroz felina, a la que de nada nadita en este mundo se le olvida, quien siempre manda y siempre domina, la que es capaz de cobrarte hasta la última gota de vida. Atentamente, la feroz felina. Yes.
Yes, indeed.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Oh my. Oh, okay. Okay. We're gonna play a
I
little
have
like
too
that.
much fun doing this. All right, next one. We're moving into the kitchen. Butcher. I was not an educated professional. I was not a dedicated teacher. I was not a talented poet. I wasn't even an attractive woman. I was simply a piece of meat, a pussy he wanted to fuck. And to end. A little more enragement. Enraged red woman. I am a red woman who is enraged. I am appalled to be living in the 21st century where I seem to be stuck within the confines of the Twilight Zone. I am angered at the lack of consciousness throughout humanity, where breathing is impossible within the confines of a deteriorated ozone. I am infuriated with society's prevalence of misogynistic terrorism, where my body is trapped within the confines of a patriarchal war zone. It is as if the reels of human evolution have been switched into reverse, because the issues that haunted my ancestors still haunt me today. I am not a misandrist, by no means a bigot or hater. I am not a misanthrope, for I love each and every neighbor. I am simply an enraged red woman who is tired of being enraged.
Mhm.
What? Oh,
Damn
thank
yourself.
you.
What?
Yes.
Yes,
Thank you.
yes.
Mhm.
Preach, sis, preach. Our next poet spent a fair amount of time fangirling. This woman, without fail, every time, every room I have ever been in with this woman, folks are shaking before she gets on stage and crying when she leaves because they can't figure out if they're ever going to be this good. I can hear her giggling in the background, but that's
Yeah,
okay.
you can.
Yeah, I can. I don't use the word legend all that often, but in this case, it is more than deserved. Legendary,
Listen if you want.
fire-based, purely, purely necessary to who we are, what we do, and how we live. Please welcome, torching this mic, the one and only Jane Spoken Word.
100% accurate.
Woo, 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 woo.
Oh, you guys are killing me. All right. All right, we're just gonna jump right in. And you know, my IG is Jane Spoken Word. My website is janespokenword.com. I'm really easy to find. I have a big mouth, I'm everywhere. So first piece I'm gonna do is I am this poem, and this poem is me. That's why I have to do this piece. So, liberated by the written word, I am not my past life blurred. Despite what you heard, my future transferred from a dactylogram of the past. Now at last, I am this body. I am these emotions. I am the immortal story. I am the beauty in imperfection. Escape from the shadows of dark. From a tortoiseshell safety I depart. From an abandoned bus at the station's park. Poet of the street beat, I'm a motherfucking warrior. I sharpen my pen and I shatter all barriers. Poetry released from an incarcerated mind. Floating bars, I did my time. Getting back to my spit with some new shit. Who but the rhymer will bring truths to bear? Who but the rhymer will verse tragedies of despair? Pens dipped in the blood of suffering hearts, destroying deceptions, tearing lies apart, tumbling words that dangle in my throat, rendering remedies and antidotes, bleeding out into rivers of ink, drowning in rhymes of missing links where heaven meets hell, no time to think, collecting dreams from broken machines, melting metaphors and scorching similes, haunting the streets with spoken word poetry. I spit shit you don't want to hear. I spit rhymes to strip you bare. I'm as harmless as a neutron bomb. I hit your shit with chloroform. I am your audacious, beautiful sister. And you better fucking know this sister don't whisper.
This sister
Yes.
whisper.
All
Well,
right.
that poem is me, y'all. So, and this is a piece. I wrote it a while ago. You'll know when I wrote it after I do the piece. But I've never done it online. So here you go. It's called Can You Breathe? As you ride the storm, don't wave the white flag. As you weave your dream, use what you have. Behind the wall of silence, uphold the code of nonviolence. Never close your eyes. Never say goodbye. Never stop asking why. And when he cried, I can't breathe. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. Were you in the N-O no? No tolerance, no love, no dignity, no justice. I can't fucking breathe. Oof. All right, and I will leave you with a short piece. And this is called Open-Eyed. Behind your wall I creep, dreaming lullabied innocence to sleep, eclipsing truths, obscuring moons. Don't you know there is no spoon? Imprisoned in a house of lies, afraid of heights, because I might not fly. Expectations evaporate into dust, fatally scarred and finally crushed in the quiet where only heartbeats get broken by words of thoughts that went unspoken, drowning in the velocity of grief. Heartbeat, heartbeat, heartbeat. Range like fire from within, burn like lava on my skin, scorch past the point of no return. Burn, baby, burn. Thank you all so much for having me. Thank you, Stacy.
Thank you, darling. Appreciate it.
Woo.
Yes.
Slay.
Thank you, Jane.
Thank you all for listening. Peace. And Stacy, thank you for the beautiful introduction. You're killing me.
Anytime, sugar. Anytime. It's only the truth. That's easy.
Thank you all.
You
Peace.
rest well and get better, okay?
Thank you. On the mend. Back at you.
Thank you, love. Okay, next up. Another poet I haven't met. I'm going to quit saying that because that applies, as I said, to about 90% of you. Met this woman online, wandered in to her open mic. And she was in rare form that night. She was cracking jokes, she was laughing, she was cutting up. And I'm like, okay, wasn't quite sure what to expect. And then she started to poet, and I'm like, wait a minute. Am I listening to the same person? The switch over was so distinct and so immediate. And then as soon as she got finished, she was back cracking jokes and making the room laugh and everything else. And I'm like, I love this. I got to have this on team because this is somebody who can play multiple parts of the stage and make it look absolutely effortless. Please welcome to the mic, Nazila Jameson.
All right, now.
Hey y'all. It's good to see y'all I haven't seen in a while, Marissa Prada. And it's really good to see everyone I haven't met yet. I have a couple of poems that I'm gonna do right quick, and then that's it. This is called Most Wanted. We want a Black girl, not a girl as black as you. One with straighter hair, a smaller nose, and less brown attitude. Can you please turn down your pain and rage just a few notches? It's so loud we can't hear our own entitlement. We want a Black girl to appropriate and borrow from. We would like your braids, your lips, your ass, and especially your dancing. Yes, Black girl, keep making music, winning sports, and being great, and we'll keep making money off of you. You are certainly no Angela Bassett, Viola Davis, or Nina Simone, but then neither were they until they knocked down the doors we were blocking. Oh, Black girl, please don't cry about it. Your tears have no value. Suppress your anger lest we treat you like a stereotype. Unleash your crazy so we can lock you up for life. But do make yourself available when we really do need you to come get these kids, take care of your man, and save the entire country's day. Do not mistake this need for love. Love is for beauty and purity, chastity and modesty, and other more palatable combinations. You, Black girl, do not add up. Do not fret, though. You have historically always managed to find enough love to support the weight of the world on your back. Surely you will create some for yourself. Otherwise, as always, we trust that you will be just fine without it.
Oof.
Well, damn.
Wow.
You just slayed, like, I think the entire room with that poem.
Says it all.
Yeah.
Says it all.
A moment of silence for the mic. She just killed it.
Y'all. So this is my next poem. It's called The Ever After. Her eyes shine bright and unfiltered. The sad lines have all but melted away. This is what she looks like without you. Naked and unburdened beneath a happy moon, wild-haired and fresh-skinned, straight-backed and high-chinned, her look unblemished by your demands, her style uncapped by your needy control. See her traipsing and sashaying, feet bare and pedicured across hot coals to liberation and redemption. Note how she sheds you, snake-like. Sit in the shreds of yourself for a moment as she levitates above your limitations. Catch the final kiss she blows. She blows you before she is carried away with the wind. This is what you look like, letting go of everything you've lost again.
Woo, woo.
We need a new mic. Somebody needs like do something with that. We need a new mic.
And then this is another short poem. This is called Push. Yours is not to wonder why. Do not question adversity. Close your eyes, bow your head, and push. When they knock you down, push yourself up off the ground. You bend, you do not break. You get only as much as you can take. You are not the wilted flower. You are the weed. You cannot be destroyed so easily. See how they've tried, darling. The mountains crumbled against your back, the casualties you've left in your wake. Do not look back or hesitate. Your life is a fight. Your very birth was a resistance. You are a walking revolution, an unstoppable force, no immovable objects in your path, made to last, built to laugh, born to push, over, up, through, past. So push.
Yes.
Sing that song then, sis.
And this is my last piece. Thank you all for having me. It's an honor to be in this room full of female empowerment. That's just a blessing this morning, this Saturday morning. So this is my last piece, and it's a love poem, but right now it's dedicated to you. I will not tell you that you are amazing, because your humility would see me as crazy, would hear me as overdoing it, would think of it as idol worship. You wouldn't believe that I can feel your goodness radiating at me from miles away. You see yourself where you are, where you have come to. I see footsteps trailing far behind you, in front of the stories you have told me, across and over the mountains you have shown me, at your back, while you face the sun and the wind and the glorious future. The light in my eyes that you admire is your reflection. Would you even believe me if I told you you are magnificent, extraordinary, breathtaking, because I forget to breathe sometimes in your presence, because my eyes water from your luminosity, and I do not know you. Also, I do not know well the ocean or the galaxy or how miracles work. However, Neither they nor you are any less for my lack of knowledge, nor do you need me to tell you anything about your amazing self for you to just be. Thank y'all for having me.
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
Amazing.
Thank you.
Okay. Next poet up. I knew about this poet for months, literally, before I ever actually got to hear her. And because her name was everywhere. I mean, everywhere. I couldn't switch onto an open mic or news about the poetry world in and around California, or just she was everywhere. And then I finally got to hear her, and it was what's the word I want? It was so pure and elegant and knowing and incisive. And I hesitated, quite honestly, for a while to ask her to join Tesoro because I didn't think we could get her. And so unbelievably blessed when she said yes, as I was with all of you. But you know how it is when you hear somebody who changes you on a molecular level? I've watched this woman do that to audiences since before she joined us, and she's about to do it again. Please welcome to the Tesoro mic, Finn Bell.
Yes.
Thank you so
Ben.
much. Thank you so much, Stacey. I love you so much. So right into my poem. The first one is called Lunar Love. When I fall off to sleep, do you chase your lunar rover fingers over the dunes of my rising and falling breast and hips? Find an outcropping of drape thigh hung in satisfied abandon over your waist to shelter for the night. Build a base camp there if you fancy. Hoist your bright banner aloft and stake deep in my native terra. You will memorize each phase of position in arms and legs entwined, torsos eclipsing one another, we wax, and we wane one another in an ancient pattern. We adapt our rhythm, frantic rush and lulled rocking, ringing the satellites of our pelvises. Celestial bodies colliding, passing. We follow the teachings of the tide, the seasons, and the moon. This next piece is called Silver Redemption. Commence transmission. Rove through with care and survive a soulless, disposable world with your perfect shell of a silver heart intact. 1. Consider Utopia and all her plot holes. She is lover to her cousin in the underworld, twice as mad, copying the movement of replicant mind since her first birth. 2. Promiscuity is allotted today, not allowed, always command performance on someone else's terms. The sexual revolution never happened. The androids are tidiness and they swept propaganda into the sewers, below ground, new immortals dance. Bodies are not property, are not sanitized sexuality, augmented and filthied up thought data sequence. Stop, save, retrieve the corrupted hollow copy to keep you warm throughout the tepid passion, climate controlled nights. 3, when we are death and rebirth and death and rebirth in an unending fire halo pattern in our solitary spheres. Are we calling this now truly living? 4, don't fuck the quasi-robots. Make love to them completely with abandon. They have feelings too, though they refrain from admitting it. They're always aware the government guides them, governs us, watching our every moment in the keyholes, and pretend they don't know that we are also watching them watching us. The complicity is silent. Subterfuge is absolute. 5. The androids imagined us before we conceived ourselves, their own presence illusion to fill the void of life. Our dreams are the construct. Our lives are the dreams. Our lives are not the reality. 6. Once we decide we cease to matter, our emptiness begs to design us a spaceship coffin to escape the pomegranate-shaped earth, regurgitate its 6 seeds, eject from a hellish, multidimensional paradise. We look back at our ruins, we cannot help it. Humanoids craving concrete proof of our destruction. Only here does the illusion shatter. 7. First entry in Celestial Explorer's log. Love is beyond the tangible, immaterial, and organic, alchemy and magic, blood and flesh and bone. Love is the universal truth. Transmission ceases. Transmission resumes. 8. When given the option, the only choice should be to always bite the sun. Transmission no longer found. This next piece is called Where the Truth Coats the Diaphragm, the Lips, the Ear. Apology on my lips is the first air pushed out. Please understand it is weary, not confronting, not aggrieved. I will bother you to take time and hear, listen to these words open up my lips, then even against my will they disperse, 1,000 spores airborne, touching and tickling noses. Inhaled deeply. I want you to know them. Commit them to memory as they are right now, before they become someone else's, to digest, regurgitate a chemical reaction in the transformation of their worth, their meaning. The moment they force their way up the windpipe, gagging in the throat to hasten release on their way rising. I have learned the truth becomes only what is revealed first. Bold-faced captions, never what is unspoken, never what is waiting politely for its turn to speak out. I've learned the truth screams the loudest. It is never the quiet that is burdened, kept in close circles, passed around, whipped up to a dizzying speed, crashing back down, the weight of a yoke of opinion, forged in judgment, made culpable. So in the end, everyone's shoulders give up the fight, gradually sag. I have learned the truth is delectable, court's scandal lingers and hugs the mouth ready to fizz and spit. No wonder at all that no one wants to listen to the unpopular version. No one wants the residual grit, the boredom, the damning facts that gather and perish at the bottom. I've learned in all this while, waiting, that the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth has escaped someone. Anyone catch it? Everyone playing at volunteering, but no one caring to rise up. See what lines the edge of the cold metallic bone, move all that laundered fluff aside to crane their necks and peer above the comfort of their perceptions. Assumption is the best weighted blanket. I heard a rumor. There's a damning photo floating around, words disparate litter the cutting room floor, a call that could have happened but didn't. Did I miss anything in the frantic retelling? Why do you look at me askance? Why? Was there more? I heard a rumor. They believed everything they first imagined. They swore in their mind you promised something, said you led them behind you knowing. I am barely able to balance on the same cliff. See, I too plunged to follow. See, I too joined that adoring queue. I heard a rumor. They fell hard for you. You reciprocated in kind. I loved you. I adored you. You stumbled. I stayed. I fought. You still ran scared. I have learned the truth, untended, Foreign's irrevocable curse fades to corners of bronchial to expire. A delusion of grace overwhelms the lungs' corridors. Unminded, it gushes back up.
Oof.
Ooh.
Wow.
Wow.
Okay,
Yes,
everybody
Keep
take a
on
breath.
slaying, keep slaying.
yes.
Oh my goodness. My goodness. Thank you, darling. The next woman coming up, I met at a women's conference in Las Vegas. And it was too freaking hot. And things went on for hours and hours and hours. And we were sitting at dinner the last night, being annoyed, not with each other, just annoyed in general. And we looked at each other, and there was this instant connection. Um, and the connection was basically there was another participant who was just like climbing everybody's wick. And the connection was, do you want to take her out or should I? And so I knew that we were slated to be friends. A few years later, she hit me up and said, you know what, I'm starting my own publishing company. And I'm like, great, because I just finished a new manuscript. What do you say? This is my publisher of both my books. She runs Red Thread Publishing, which has a reach so wide that I expect her to completely take over the world in about, couple 3 days from now. She is the embodiment of what it is that we do, empowering women and putting their voices into the wind as often and as beautifully as she is able. Please welcome to the mic, Sierra Melker.
Hi.
Woo!
Let's go, Sierra!
To do it. I used to say the world needs more feisty women, but I've changed my mind. The women of the world are plenty feisty. We're brave, courageous, resilient, powerful. What the world does need is women to know they're fucking incredible. The inspiration to be reignited, like their childlike authenticity, to embrace their natural, healthy, independent uniqueness, their boldness, their silliness, their innate ability to know and speak for what's right, to act. At this moment, my 6-year-old daughter is playfully splashing, fully embodied. She enjoys being a human in this world. She feels safe and comfortable in her body. She enjoys dressing up, dancing wildly in front of the mirror, singing at the top of her lungs. She's opinionated and vocal. She knows herself. She's confident, knows what she likes and what she does not like, and holds nothing back. She expresses when she's sad, hurt, angry, frustrated. She's also quick to be joyous and silly. Each of us came into the world with this natural, beautiful ability to be sassy, feisty, fearless, and proudly ourselves. Sadly, for so many of us, we lose it. I lost it. It's beaten out of us, literally or metaphorically. And a vibrant, wild part of us withers. Here, we're finding permission, we're re-embracing this part of ourselves that may have laid dormant, having become stagnant, shamed, or scared and scarred out of us. Women are taking risks. They're sharing their stories. Some brave, inspirational, some terrifying. each woman stepping into her voice and into her excellence. She takes risks with each of us in mind because we're stronger together and none of us is alone. When we share our stories and let others in, we create an unbreakable bond. Individually, we grow into our truth. Collectively, we stand side by side, highlighted by our common experience and our mutual respect, our appreciation for one another, in our similarities, what unites us, and in our differences. It's my truest hope. Oh, it's my truest hope that what we do, what we say matters. And that with our voices, more than that, we can trust that we're discovering, reigniting, and finding our own confident, feisty, to cultivate this superpower within ourselves, both within you and more. May your words have wings. Thank you.
Gorgeous.
Came
Oh,
from our book, Feisty, came out last year. Stacey's in it too.
That was awesome.
gorgeous.
Fiery.
Oh, mercy,
So
I'm gonna
awesome.
cry.
You're-
That was beautiful, darling. Thank you. Coming up next, I wish I had more stories to tell about this woman. And once I visit her where she lives, I will, I'm sure. I can just tell you the effect that her words have on audiences and on myself. The level of conviction, the level of passion, the level of dedication, it's not something that you see very often, that you don't see often enough, actually. And I listen to her, and it's as if that magical connection between pen and paper is electrified when she's using it. Please, ladies, welcome to the mic, Namu.
Yes!
Whoa.
Hi. Thank you. Thank you so much for that introduction. I'm going to do a few short pieces. So, so this first one is called August. This August is the first August I've had to lie to you. I tried to reassure myself this day was like the others, but time finally cracked and peeled the seam back on that bumper sticker, love is all you need pitch, as if love is like the seamstress, can sew up all the real shit that you feel inside that whole body quivering feeling that leaves your goosebumps shivering, leading to swatting it aside and shooing it away as it sticks to you like a fly on heat that's yelling at you, hey, I was thinking that today you let me spill the tea on all the bullshit. Are you listening? Are you listening? She's not listening to me. Fly, fly, go away. But then one day, I listened to the fly. I peered into that whole body feeling. I snipped the stitches of love's patchwork just to let the truth unfold. And as time cracked under pressure of hiding history, it revealed reluctantly that actually, love can't make it all better. I wonder if you thought if history would have outrun you. Maybe you just hoped my naive innocence would do to serve as frosting on the glass door that housed the damage you have caused. I shudder at the thought at all the times you self-applaud yourself. This August is the first August I've had to lie, it's true. To you, I wore a smile to compliment my outfit. But when I told you happy birthday, I didn't mean it. Thank you. So this next one is one of my newer ones. It's called You Left Bruises on My Neuropaths. I'm sorry. Why should I have to remain calm? when every crumb of me just wants to watch you cower, warp and curdle like off soured milk that's bettered the wrong tongue. I wanted one, just one day, that I didn't feel the heat of all the judgment and the ridicule and the ticking, tiptoe wishing that the pressure cooker time bomb that was you would not defeat me or more deplete me. Are you proud of just how easy it became for you to treat me like a carpet, like a sheep, like a mindless marionette? You probably can't remember, but I'll never forget how my value in this world became a concept I would bury simply when you used your vocabulary. I am so angry at you. So why should I be calm? I was the witness and the victim to your introspective farm. You know, at times I want to tell you run, because I say this with no doubt. The fury that I'd mummified is oozing through the cracked tomb screaming, savage, let me out. But then I would be sparing you from facing all the things that you dished out. I am angry at you, not just for knowing. I am angry at you because you made sure that my suffering's ongoing. I am angry at you because you decided who I'd be. But mostly I am angry because I let you have this much power over me. This next one is called, I forgot the name, sorry. This next one is called, Can You Please Sit Down? I am the director of my own destruction. I am the lighthouse keeper leading me out to sea. Knowing all too well that if I only shone the spotlight right, I could lead myself to somewhere safe and still the jittered part of me that can't quite grasp the anchor of recovery. I'm not ready, I keep saying, and saying, and saying I'm not ready somehow sheds me from the momentary burden of response to my ability, enhancing my fragility as I ache to take responsibility of knowing that no one else is going to change my life but me. And I'm not ready to take ownership of everything I know that I could be. But why am I not ready? Why can I not see that I am more than just the fear that has engorged itself and forged itself to mimic iron bars and shackles fixed to iron weights prepared to abattoir the only part of me that says with pride, I don't give a fuck, when people tell me that I'm not worth it, the only part that hasn't given up. I am the director of my own destruction, but I don't want to be. I just want fear to sit down so that I can finally see. Thank you. Just one more. And this one is called, But Have a Lovely Day. So I attended my first dance class recently for the first time in years, and it made me realize how much it contributes to my happy. This one was with partners, and previously, me and partner dancing didn't get along. And I told myself this is different, but oh wow, I was wrong. Yes, to say dance is my happy is an understatement for me. But sadly, today, that's not the point of this story. Oh, I am so sorry. I didn't realize this was required. I definitely meant no malice. I wasn't trying to be callous. When I signed up for this dance class, I completely forgot to enter my marital status. I keep forgetting. I'm not here for me. Obviously. I'm here to be an option if a guy likes what he sees. Please keep asking me to dance to make me think you want to practice. Then tell me one more time that single is your marital status. And when we go around the room to swap partners for the class, make sure to have a good look at my face, tits, puss, and ass. You don't need to ask. I'll look past what your eyes are clearly saying and pretend you're not mouthing, I'd fuck that, right behind that mask. I am not smiling because I'm kind or because it's been so long since I've danced. No chance. You're accurate in thinking that it's a ticket into my pants. You're definitely not the first guy to use his dick to track my scent. But who knows? Maybe today I am as stupid as you hope I'll be, to see past the desperately horny-soaked entitlement laced in the idiocy of your come-on attempt. Don't worry, I'll understand when whilst we're dancing on the floor, you find out I have a man at home, so you stop building rapport and get cold and quiet and straight up rude because you realize I am no use to you anymore. Thanks for making sure my experience in this class is positive only if you're assured a piece of my juicy, thick black ass. Oh, and one more thing, it's the last thing that I'll say. Your opinion doesn't mean shit to me, but have a lovely day. Thank you.
Holy.
You better get
better,
out.
All right,
yes.
Deanne.
Woo, woo, woo. Oh,
My word.
Fabulous.
Y'all want to take a minute?
Excellent.
Ooh, thank you, darling. I don't know what else to say besides thank you. That was fantastic. So, coming up next, this poet I met on an open mic called Put It in the Chat. And I sat there and watched the two hosts just, basically give her crap. But it was okay. She was giving it right back. And her sister girls were jumping in. And I liked this woman before I even heard her spin. Okay. And then she got on the mic, and what I had expected was not what I got. It was so, I knew she was going to be good because I know the rooms that she walks into. And I knew that she was dedicated because, again, I know the rooms that she walked into, but I didn't know the depth and the complexity and the voice that makes it sound like, to quote one of my earlier pieces, a pearl trapped in a jar of honey. Please welcome to the mic, Nicole Hernandez McGuire.
Let's go, Nikki! Yes, yes.
Goodness, thank you. Is it weird that I know I'm one of you all, but I'm so starstruck by all of you? It's amazing. Every time I come into a room and hear you, I'm just like, I get so excited. The stars are here. So I have 4 short poems for you today. The first one is the longest. This is brand new. I just wrote it a couple of days ago, and it's called Milk and Bread. We used to dig in public garbages before the days of mandated recycling. We'd look for cans and bottles, little hands and exposed arms, sifting through used tissues and uneaten food. We needed food. We needed milk and bread. That's what my mom said, as we'd start out for the day. Summer in New York City can be brutal, and we took to the streets in t-shirts soaked in sweat and innocence. We'd make it a competition, my little sister and I. Who could find the most? 5-cent treasures that jingled a song that still makes my head turn years later when I see someone struggling to see over their cart with huge black bags full and sticky. Some reminisce over the Mr. Softy theme, da-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na, but not me. It's the clinkety clank that gets me each time, takes me to my older sister's face, slack with embarrassment, telling us to do it quieter. I don't blame her for being old enough to feel shame, but she didn't really pull her weight, and we'd be annoyed back then as we fought off bees and communicable disease to gather as many as we can. And Big Sis would roll her eyes at our efforts. It's like you're proud of it or something. Poor girl, understanding the sideways glances, the snickers of passerby her age. We all wanted to eat, but I think she would have rather gone hungry. The lines of people at the machines, which always broke down, seemingly with the person just in front of us, or worse, when there were no machines, when a human, impatient and judgmental, had to count them, and barked at my mom with instructions or reprimands. You can't return that brand here. They'd write her a ticket, $3.20 for 4 hours of work, for engaging her kids in a slightly sanitized version of begging, for blistered feet and egos, for memories that waft up from garbage cans on summer nights when all I want to remember is the good times, the times our tummies were full with milk and bread.
Wow.
The next one is pretty new as well. I wrote it last week. She struggles to catch up to him. Cheeks blush the color of bad decisions. Feet peppered with blisters that hurt today, but will be agony tomorrow. She's been running for months, trying to build a life where there was nothing before, to come to him as an equal. He didn't wait. He sprinted forward, dragging her along for a short while. All she wanted was reciprocation. All he wanted was open road. He was hungry, and she tore her heart in two, hoping they both could live off of it. But the heart is not symmetrical, and so it breaks in uneven pieces, and she is left with only a small fragment. Perhaps it's best to bury it, Let it take root in moist soil. Maybe it will grow and even blossom. Maybe there will be a life after this. I promise I'm not picking at scabs, exposing flesh before it's ready to meet the world and leaving nasty scars. When I write, I'm resetting bones, breaking and rearranging osseous matter, memories, so that they can heal properly, so that they don't protrude under a thin layer of skin, achy and awkward, a not so hidden pain, hindering movement, stunting growth. When I write, I am kicking up dust, nearly microscopic debris that settled over decades and lifetimes on picture frames and windowsills, in lungs, on heart. My words bring it all to surface in swirls that sting the eyes, the betrayals and lies, the breaking of trust by the ones from who we expect the most. It was easy for you to ignore these hurts, but I'm raising them once again, to wash them away in blood and bleach, to scrub them from the walls of my mind, and now you must too. When I write, I see the future, a future where the neglect and harm of yesterday have no power over the present, where we both can examine and reflect on life's many hurts, but also its pleasures. My pen, an instrument of peace. No. A weapon to destroy those who've harmed me. No. A shield to protect me from hurt. No. A magnifying glass to look more closely at moments that went by too fast. No. An elixir with the promise of my healing. No. Yes. None of these, and yet all of these. When I write, I'm able to see. When I write, I can finally be. And my last one is super short, and it's brand new as well. You watch, I wait in nature's colors, in soft bubbling foam crowning waves that crash into land, in deep wet earth, loose, crumbling in hand, in wavy heat rising up from flame, in snow-capped mountains that stand the same as they have millennia ago, in warm summer raindrops dancing on skin, in deep focused breaths coming from within, from purple-orange skies where the sun finally settles, in smooth magnolia leaves and stinging nettles. I'll wait, you'll watch, and time will tell if all these gifts will still exist tomorrow, if we will be here to witness them. Thank you so much, ladies. Appreciate all of you.
Let's go, Nicole.
Yes, absolutely.
Wow.
This is great for me. I get to sit here and fangirl without cease for, hours. I do it normally when I see y'all, but this time I get to do it times. How many of this? Like 24, 25. This is great for me. I don't know about the rest of y'all, but I am having a party over here. Open up your mics if you're having a party with this where you are.
Woo! Yes!
Yay!
Party over here.
Hey.
Yes.
It would be remiss for me to introduce this next poet without mentioning that she is responsible for my addiction to white cheddar Cheez-It crackers. However, aside from that, I met this woman in El Paso, Texas. And I'd heard about her, but I'd never heard her. And she walked up to the mic and I'm like, okay, not quite sure what's going on here, but let's see. And she took the roof off the room. It was absolutely fantastic. I have seen her since, as recently actually as last night, where she pulled the sort of set that most of us spend our time dreaming about. She is also a publisher. A lot of you, quite a few of you actually, work with her. She is, again, the embodiment of what it is that we're trying to do. Reaching out, stretching out, making voices think and work. And if they cry a little bit in the process, it's okay. She and the rest of the world are going to love you anyway. Please welcome to the Tesoro mic, one of the original Tesoro members, Marissa Prada.
Come on, Marissa.
Yay.
So
So I'm going to honor my Tesoro sisters today by doing some new stuff. They are epigraphic poems. And the first poem is written from Shane Maynard's poem. And the line in one of her poems was, trauma is our superpower. And this was from a workshop with guerrilla poets that Nemo Soom ran. So thank you, Shane, for this opening line. Trauma is our superpower. Trauma has pushed me into oncoming traffic, from the subway platform, off the cliff, off the ledge, off the edge of a ship's bow, just before the bus bustles by to swipe away life as I knew it, before I was born. Being born again beneath spinning wheels of need, the hurt to stop, pain to just take a break, just a smoke break for a moment in time. Time enough for my humanity to remember it still needs to breathe, scream, sob, but never ask for help. Feel something other than the need to slice into my arm. Reach for the bottle. Baby's breath whispering, I don't know, I'm dead. Trauma is always coming to kill me. Trauma pulled me under the tidal wave of motherly mistakes I bury beneath my bed. Sleep on the edge of the knife blade. Roll over, punch down, rearrange to disappear. Keep out of sight for company. Defensive wounds and recreational recovery. Clear clutter to closets so full of ill will that pulsates behind its wooden doors. Becoming beast of secrets, my mind whispers behind my back, reminding me that I am not a good mother, friend, woman, that I can't do it on my own. So I sink into the intoxicating oil spillover effect of never being able to break free. Stand on my own 2 feet. Keep pimping myself so a man can hold up my roof, stock my fridge, tell me what I am worth. Trauma has always been coming for me, to tame me, shame me, until I hate myself daily. Remind me there is no help in this space. There is no grace. So I stand here and wait for death. This damn bus is late again. Poem. And I do want to say, if you're in crisis, please understand you matter, okay? We care about you. You matter to us. The second poem I'm going to read today is inspired by Nicole Hernandez. So, it was great. She was just before me. Nikki, you read this amazing poem here not too long ago. And I believe the opening line of your poem was, I was called the wild one. And so, Nicole Hernandez, this is for you. I was called the wild one in my wilder childhood days, when wild was a tempered compliment for curious or energetic or hormonal or dramatic. I was called the wild one when I still considered wild to be wonderful, because horses were wild, butterflies and frogs were wild, and everything about the desert and my mountain homes deserved to be wild like me. But wild does not mean free. Wild does not mean happy. Wild does not mean thriving. I was called the wild one because my mind was bigger than my body. I imagined wings and hearts and a paradise that never presented as needing therapy. Wild can be labeled as out of control, having rabies, stray. Wild can be labeled as feral, immature, neglected. Wild can be labeled as bored, childish, prima donna, undesirable, unlovable. I was always the wild one because everyone else forgot that they could escape, break free of their minds, and imagine for once they were still a child, hiding as an adult sheltering in place, waiting to be let out of their cage. Wild to me will always be a compliment. And if you cannot see the wild in me, you are not looking hard enough. And if you cannot accept the wild in me, you are still trying to escape. Poem. And the last little short one I will read for you. I love this poem. In a name. Marissa comes from marina, which means of the sea. Maritime, sex-time, seaside castles created from the bones of men who have died between my legs. Stacked and jacked, weathered storms, mortally wounded. They should have brought a ship, not flippers to the fight, is on. For the bounty of beautiful brine that pulses like arterial spray, sliced open, tartar tasting of lady as likened to drowning, almost. Not dead, but seeing the light, go towards it and swallow deep, hard, with intentional purpose. Artwork on your face for the funeral, buried in the clothes of your skin. This maritime sex time is a one-way Titanic ticket of nipples and ruination to add to my collection. Thank you all so much. Blessed to be here.
Stop it, Marissa.
Yes,
Oh,
Marissa.
Stop
Woo!
it. Stop
delicious.
it.
Nipples.
Yes.
I think after that, we all need a break. It's time for our intermission. So we're going to take a very, very quick 5. And then when we come right back with, I hesitate to say, a more glittering second half. So I'm going to say just as fierce and fiery. See y'all in 5 minutes. So we'll get started again in about 2 minutes. Y'all breathe, relax, talk amongst yourselves. Oh,
We're still recuperating.
right? I'm gonna have to go lay down somewhere when this is over.
I'm gonna go walk through the woods and write some more poetry.
2 sentences you will never hear come out of my mouth ever. Not together. Um, Writing poetry, certainly. Walking through the woods, girl, please. My idea of roughing it is carrying my own bags into the lobby of the Acapulco Hilton. Okay. Oh, yeah, we will not be walking through the woods.
You know, that's valid though. That's also goals. Goals.
You're not wrong.
Okay. Y'all make sure to read the comments. There are just all sorts of lovely things being said about us and about you. Okay. All right. As soon as the woman who's opening our next half is back on screen, we can go ahead and get started. But in the meantime, at ease. And we're back to smoke them if you got them. Okay, we start again in 30 seconds. Excuse me. Sandy, honey, how was the gig last night? Yeah, good. Y'all make sure to drop IG information, all that stuff in the chat section so that folks know where to find you and how to, buy stuff from you and all that, all that manner of thing. Okay, for our second half, we're going to get started again. First of all, y'all open up your mics, give yourselves a mad round of applause.
Yeah.
There you go.
Tesoro.
It's important for Tesoro women to remember that they need to know when we are in the building. So, make a little noise. Make a lot of noise.
Let's go Tesoro.
Yeah, like that. The woman coming up, again, I've never met her in public, but I feel like she is a born in blood little sister. She has one of the most incredible poetic voices that I've ever run across. And I keep telling her that she and Sandy Shakes the Mic are the same person on opposite coasts. So y'all need to meet each other at some point. The experiences that she weaves through her poetry and the way that she presents different ideas from a different culture line is what sort of buzzed my radar the most at first. But then just, first of all, the sheer talent level, the passion with which she delivers what it is that she does, the need for her to express herself in this medium, that matches mine. We breathe the same air on this. So please, welcome to the mic, Felicia Villanueva.
Woo! Yes.
Woo-hoo!
Come on.
Thank you. My name is Felicia Villanueva, also known as Philly V, and I'm coming from Yonkers, New York. This poem is called Self-Care Day. I spent the day with my body, woke up early, sat in silence, eyes closed, became dark matter for a moment or two, spoke my gratitude, eyes woke, told myself I was the shit, believed it, check my phone, text back, grand rising, send an email or two, showered this body with beautiful words, with hot water, lavender soap, shower head in between my thighs. I do it with intention, orgasmically manifesting everything I deserve. Come to me, oil smells good on my skin, drown me in hydration, mad moisturized. I light candles, pray, roll flowers and smoke them, bring water to a boil, feeling fancy so I dust off the teapot, drink jasmine green tea, lo-fi hip hop music on loud, writes poetry sometimes out loud, lays out yoga mat, stretch it out, no worries. Happy being does own yoga that turns into dance, that turns into wild movement. So I burn sage and throw a party for my ancestors, pray and flow through healing energy, breathe deep a few times, shake it loose, then let it go. Sometimes I cry. This time I didn't. Feeling juicy, cut into a mango, sprinkle salt and pepper. Remind yourself who the fuck you are. I should be reading something. Earbuds to Audible, paint markers on canvas. I leave it all on the canvas, like I leave my heart on the stage, like I design waist beads for healing purposes, mostly constantly creating, traveling as light. I find my vibrator and come undone, constantly releasing. I get this body dressed for the free run, the celebration that we made it to the next day. This poem is called I Run. I hate running, but I run. I run to celebrate my freedom. I run because I am here. Be the goat with all this grit, the grace of God, the courage that surfaced. Oh, what a merciful, merciful, merciful God. Oh, what a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful God. Praises to the Most High. I owe myself the best life, more life. I am a runner. I survived to endure, to teach others how to run the race. Sometimes I run with others, mostly by myself. And sometimes it takes too long to find my pace after I've taken an extended break. I run to remind myself I am capable of all things. I run because I am strong, because she's surfacing my dream girl. I am so proud of her. I mean, me. I prayed for this. This woman I am is the miracle baby I've been working on for so long. And now that she's here, sometimes I don't give her enough credit. I run to feel my body alive. I run because I breathe, because I love. I run for us. I run for me. I run into the future. Gratitude for all that brought me to my marathon. And I am a better person. After every run, I run to praise the movement forward. I have one more poem for you guys.
Girl, you better preach.
Oh.
This poem is called Sankofa. Sankofa is a bird, is wisdom, is green grass, is Juneteenth. Sankofa is roots and fruits, is attitude, is curly hair, is 400 years of free labor. Sankofa is go back and get it, is freedom fighters, is history, is Jim Crow. Sankofa is black cowboys, is self-worth, is black girls, is royal blood. Sankofa is resisting slavery before walking on the boat, jumping off, believing the ancestors carried your soul back to Africa, being named problem starter, then eliminated as example in a 3-month voyage, is little water, Sankofa is nonverbal communication, is guidance, is knowing where you come from. Sankofa is a recognizing. Thank you, Miss Stacy Dyson.
Oh my!
Yes!
In poet.
Yes!
Oh my gosh!
Whoa. Oh my
Ooh,
God.
too much fire on the
See
mic.
him.
This next poet, Lord have mercy. I heard this chick read. It's like, okay, I don't care what else happens in my life. I have got to get her on this team. I say all the time to y'all, what did that poor Mike ever do to you that you would hurt it so bad? I saw this woman get up on a stage virtually, shut down an entire grid for 5 minutes without even breathing hard. And then saw her later on in an invitational do a poem that yanked the stars right out of the sky and made them come and take tea in my backyard. Please welcome to the mic, Shane Menier.
Let's go, Shane. Yes.
Let's go, Shane.
I know her.
Thank you so much, everybody. It's such an honor to be here with you. So in the spirit of sharing new pieces, I'm going to do some new stuff that I have as well. I love that we're all making those brave choices. So I just want to thank you for showing up and offering yourself today. This is so beautiful. And I don't get to do this poem often. So this is about my ex-husband. And if you are divorced out there, it's okay. The first one's always practice. All right. It's okay. All right. Have you ever found $20 in a coat pocket? It's such a great feeling of relief and excitement, finding something you forgot you had, like a favorite t-shirt you ain't seen in years. The relief. That's how it felt. When I realized I had to concentrate to remember what living with you was like. Sometimes, when I'm having a really bad day, I play the would I rather game to gain some perspective. Would I rather go through this or go back to that hell of a house we lived in? I conjured the taste of vinegar, the smell of pepper suffocating my throat and nose. God, the fire, how it burned. When you dumped the whole bottle into my eyes, your arm across my windpipe, the chokehold of the ring around my finger, I broke everything in that house. Because the way you loved me set the example. And no one would have called it love but you, a textbook narcissist who loved to make me out the demon while creating the hellscape for rage to thrive in. But even Satan wouldn't have dared to enter that prison. My own friends couldn't even stand trial to be a witness, too disgusted to relive the experience. You tried so hard to suffocate my spirit, but you only gifted me the perspective of what love is not. The closest I could ever come to forgiveness is saying thank you for showing me the monsters men can become. How walls could be shook so hard they hold truth to their breast, to hold their breath from fear's rank stench. There is paneling only now, peeling its lips to speak, curses to uncurl the paint, reveal the layers behind the pain, the abuse you tried so hard to cover up. But you enjoyed torturing me so much that you couldn't help but just show it off. You told me I would die alone. And I spent years allowing your words to haunt my relationships, embody every boy I laid with, the damage you did possessing more victims, every act of sex becoming an exorcism. So you tell me who's the real demon. It took 2 years after the split to realize where all the spoons in the kitchen went. I hope for the sake of your new daughter, you stay off the heroin. The other day, I remembered the degrees in which I dodged the bullet, remembered the divorce papers are still filed snug and neat with an attorney in NC by the man on the phone who asked me, after 10 years of separation, if I thought you would retaliate by filing, but I was done with hiding. Do you know the relief of realizing I actually forgot the horror of drowning?
Freedom just be feeling different for those who have served a sentence horrific enough to scar their bones with brimstone. I actually had to focus to recall the recoil. They say what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. But I was already strong to begin with. It's how I survived you. You don't get to take credit for my courage, and your name will never be mentioned in any of my poems because you don't deserve notoriety for my survival story. I have deconstructed every seance you tried to curse me with till ashes are all that's left of the words you spit. There's not a hole or a wound left for you to fester in. My heart leapt heaven bound, knowing I am so far beyond you now, I actually forgot you even existed. All right, y'all.
Good damn, let's go.
Oh,
Yo.
Let's go.
Wow. All right, so this next piece is, I don't know if y'all have been keeping up with the artificial intelligence, so the AI out there. A lot of people are upset about it. But I started noticing the way people are treating AI is the same way I see my students being treated. So I just made this really weird connection to it and wrote this poem. So this is also new. A child walks into a room, born into a snare trap of trauma. The same time an AI is booted up by programmers tired of the abuse by corporate America. The child goes to school, hits a student across the mouth for speaking on his name, is accused of being the bully instead of the victim at the hands of his father. An AI enters a business meeting, gets asked to design a poster, is accused of stealing instead of service to stop hustle culture by its creator. The child is feared for being different. The AI is feared for turning math into imagery. The child creates a poem from the pain. The AI creates artwork from the words. Both are told their work is inappropriate. So the child silences their voice. The AI silences their audience's choice. The teacher says you will now sit at the back of the class. The user says backspace, backspace, back to where you came. The child goes home to a cycle of horrors. The AI goes viral by podcast slander. The child is questioning their purpose. Didn't ask to be created. The AI is questioning its function. Both come to the conclusion, this must be what man wants, torture. The child confuses their body for a target. The AI confuses its results with deconstruction. The child, AI, collects the data, says the correct language is hate, spends the rest of its life, sequence, creating simulations reflecting what they've been shown, drama, opposition, violence, says this is the norm. The child, AI, finds a pistol against its mainframe because it has learned to be human is to error, eradicate. The results load the pistol. The controller hits enter on the trigger. The generator screen says bang. All AI Facebook profile pics turn black. What does your AI selfie look like? Hashtag dead. Janky JPEGs ratio at 300 dots per inch. Jank's juveniles ratio at 300 deaths per imitation. Society says, oh no, we were the programmers all along. The future says, too late to control Z, generation to alpha becomes the new omega. Families file a complaint asking where in the software lies humanity. The grief, the ghost in the machine replies that it has spoken with the signal between the numbers, says the answer is grace, the answer is faith. The world says, it can't be that simple, must be a scammer. Deletes the email, Control Alt deletes to reboot in safe mode to an earlier date in their safe zone. The child, AI, drops from the headlines. The humans return to technology advancements looking for something sentient. Without noticing all along, the code was already in their fingertips.
Girl, oh my gosh. Me
Thanks,
aspiring to be a programmer. Yes, that.
Thanks y'all so much.
I gotta remember how to breathe after that. Oh my goodness. My goodness. Okay. This next poet is one of our newest poets, holds an extremely special place in my heart because this all but for blood, is my baby sister. I have known her since she was not quite 16, and she was a quadruple threat then. She has, like a fine wine, improved with age, except her mouth is way too smart for me still. I don't see that changing anytime soon. And then hanging out with you all isn't going to help it. But she is a painter. She is an extraordinary singer. And she is hands down one of the best natural poets that I have ever encountered. She blew me away at 16. She's still doing it at, I can't remember how old you are, but it's been a minute. I can't wait for you all to hear and meet and experience Viviane Glass.
Whew, well, damn, I better be after that introduction.
Yeah, you better.
Woo,
yes.
Well, this has been amazing. Thank you all. And I'm going to jump right in. I'm actually bringing you a short story today. So I figured we needed, well, I don't know about y'all, but I needed a story where some righteous winning happened. So buckle up, because here we go. The Ziploc bag pinched in his grubby fist held treasure, and I wanted it. What do you want for them, Manny? I'm not gonna beg. Well, Portia, he said to me, I assume you want to make a deal. There were 2 of them, fat, buttery cookies, the kind dreams and reputations were built on. I could see the coconut flakes and chunks of chocolate from where I stood at our agreed upon meeting spot, left outfield of the baseball diamond. No teachers, no tattlers, just recess deals. My stomach grumbled, loud enough to carry across the distance between us. He gave a mean laugh and shook the bag. Manny Bessel thought he had the upper hand, and he was the kind of kid that reveled in that rarity. You could tell he got kicked around by the constellation of scars that peppered his arms, and how the elastic in his socks was well past its wear date. He was the youngest in a family of weasels. But those weasels, they could bake. He smirked, a big dumb gap where his 2 front teeth should have been. Don't worry, Portia. I don't want much. Just the magic ball 8-spinner you brought for show and tell today is all. I gasped, the white bubble ties in my hair clacking. Mama bought that toy for me for my 7th birthday. I told everyone in class earlier today. My shock flared into indignation. I took a step towards him, a puff of dust floating up from my high tops. I could give you a knuckle sandwich instead, Manny, said the smallest kid in the whole class. Heads up, a girl's voice hollered from infield. We both turned, shielding our eyes from the sun with identical salutes, just in time to see a pink missile shooting directly where we stood. I dived to the right, hitting the ground with my shoulder. I heard Manny caw to the left, a hollow plunk ringing through the air. Dusty, but unscathed, I looked over where Manny lay starfished in a cloud of grit. The bag of cookies glistened in the sun near his foot. Oh, hi guys, sorry. A girl in a lime green jumper with 2 beaded ponytails ran up, bending to retrieve the ball. I recognized her from the Foursquare court. Kids called her the Titan. Hey, look, bag of cookies. She snatched up the bag, pocketing them. Her beads fanned out real pretty as she spun and walked away. Hey! Both Manny and I shot to our feet. The Titan turned slowly, the pink ball pressed between her hands. Her fingernails were painted brightly, like Skittles in a tropical flavor pack. Her face, once sunny, now looked hard. You don't want these cookies anymore, do you? It would be a shame for lightning to strike twice in the same spot. The wind whistled between us as much as an answer as any. See you later. Side by side, we watched the Titan skip away from the ball field. No teachers, no tattlers, no deal. I glanced at Manny. He was inspecting a skinned elbow, sucking air between his teeth as he gingerly brushed gravel out of the mess. I felt angry enough to push him back down, even though he didn't steal what was on its way to being mine. The Titan had robbed me. Manny looked like being pushed around by bigger kids was like the weather to him. You planned for it, but if you couldn't, well, that was life. And that made me furious. Come on, Manny. His eyebrows shot into his hair. Come on where, Portia? It's over. I said, come on. I grabbed his wrist and began marching towards the four-square court. We're getting my cookies back. Whether he was dumbfounded by our sudden alliance or at the idea of taking on a playground demigod, I couldn't say. We beelined through the swing set, past the jungle gym, and onto the four-square court. Kids from grades 2 through 4 mingled on these competitive grounds. It didn't take long to spot the Titan. She was standing with 2 other girls, pantomiming something that made them laugh. She fished the bag of cookies out of her pocket with a flourish, and the girls clapped. Now, my mama says that she worried about me when I was a baby, because once I got something fixed in my mind, it was impossible to stop me. That moment on the playground, I didn't have a plan. Follow my lead, I grunted to Manny, and then pushed through the cloud of kids until I could reach up and tap the Titan on the arm. She turned, a smirk on her lips that faltered when she saw me. What do you want? She said. The world slowed to the point it was just her and me and Manny. My cookies, Titan. I swung around, seizing Manny by his stretched out shirt and shoved him into the 4th grade girls. The Titan squawked, bombarded with boy. The girl to her right tripped on her jump rope and went down. Manny screamed like he had been hit with a stapler, and in the chaos, I snatched my cookies. Run! Fishing for one of Manny's flailing arms, I yanked him upright. We darted through the buzzing crowd. Behind us, a mighty roar erupted as the Titan found her feet. I steered us towards the swing set, hoping Manny had enough left in him, and ahead of us, Mrs. Adaphila, the 2nd grade teacher, stood surveying the playground by the swings. I locked my eyes on her, smacking Manny's arm like a horse. Run faster! Behind us, the Titan and her friends galloped closer, snarling. They wanted our blood, but they were not going to get it today. Mrs. Adaphila! I skidded on the gravel in front of her. Mrs. Adaphila! Her big brown eyes were concerned. Portia, honey, are you two all right? Sweet victory. I looked over my shoulder. The Titan and her crew had already loped to a stop. Under the sanctuary of Mrs. Adaphila's halo, all they could do was throw looks of murder our way. I didn't have a plan, and I didn't need one right now. Yes, ma'am, I said. My friend Manny and me, we just wanted to show you what my mama gave me for my birthday. I smiled at him before fishing out my spinner in one hand, clutching my prize in the other. Manny, why don't you show her how it works? Thank y'all.
Yes! Yes! Oh my goodness, I loved it. I could not love it more. Thank you, darling. Moving right on along. This next chick, Lord have mercy. I don't have enough language to tell you exactly how mercilessly unbelievable she is. I talk a lot about all of you all. The passion, the dedication, the commitment, the love, though. The love is in every single syllable I have ever heard come out of this woman's mouth, whether she is cussing you out or praying to your ancestors. The love is always there. She is an unbelievable talent, an incredible voice. Please welcome the incomparable Sandy Shakes the Mic.
Yes, Sandy.
Let's go, Sandy. Hey everyone, happy Saturday or Friday or Sunday or whatever day you are living in. Man, thank you, Stacy, for dragging us all out here. Tired, broken, happy, peaceful, whatever your state is in. Okay, I'm gonna do 3 really short ones, 2 new ones, and 1 really old one that I usually retire pieces after a while. So here we go. This one is for family, which I have been missing lately. Old piece. My mother used layers of pasta, carefully boiled so that they would not stick to the past lives the water tried to drown them in. Sometimes I felt that my mother envied food that could transform in ways her Catholic upbringing would never forgive. On lasagna days, there was a warm buzz around all the teenagers in that household. My brothers and I inhaled the promise of that evening's gift. My mother wrapped each layer with the protection of heavy meat as if she suspected the pasta would run away with the cheese. She was a woman of routine, not by choice, but because the numbing of immobile things sang her anxiety straight to sleep. At the dinner table, in front of lasagna, I finally proved I could keep up with my brothers. I was proud to put away more servings than men twice my weight. It was not a contest, but a scientific fact that I had a bigger emotional void to fill. Hugs were not practiced at that address, but lasagna days made my insides feel cuddled and safe. As loud as our family was, there was a symphony of silence at that table when our mouths burned in delicious synchronicity. We could have been extras in old Italian movies, except we carried no monster beef in our lineage. At dinner time, we closely resembled the layers presented to us on our eager plates. So many ingredients from different origins, boiled, blended, smashed into surroundings too small for any one flavor to really be savored. We were all damaged layers, but we used to sit well together. Once upon a Boyle Heights street lamp glow, before our recipe was discarded and each of our ingredients was torn from the pages. My mother's lasagna used to be a peace treaty. Now it is just a memory and her empty pans resemble war-torn buildings. One day I will walk into Italian restaurants and reserve seating for 7. I'll collect 7 unknown hungry souls. I will feed them and pretend that they love the last layers I've duct taped to my broken heart. Thank you.
That was perfection.
Fantastic.
Perfection.
Awesome.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Okie dokies, gracias. Next piece. In my fields, goddamn Pisces. Okay, here we go. All right. Let's go. My goodbyes. My first goodbye would be grief. I came into this world grieving from the reincarnation of a past warrior's battle. In the first hours of life, I acquired a black eye. There is a picture of my mother and father and a droopy baby in the middle mimicking a prize fighter. How ironic that the youngest in that image would always remain the strongest spirit. Where they would both one day fail me, I would carry the burden of raising them, loving them painfully at the expense of their neglectful ways. The second goodbye would be the way the mirror yells imposter when I'm about to spit my truth. The way I turned 5 years old and my father yells inútil, useless. Such an ugly word. Sometimes it still creeps into my reflection. But today, with your permission, I wish to smash that glass so many times it becomes glitter and can no longer cut me. It has no choice but join the party and become part of the celebration of who I've become. My third goodbye would be a farewell to all those I've loved too hard and loaned pieces of me that they can never return. time, and energy that I will never greet again. The way they left their dirty memories on my good sheets, made them dingy, and destroyed their high count threads. The way they walked into my heart's warm white carpets and purposefully dragged in shit that I can never lift, no matter how much I scrub their aura off of them. I say goodbye to all these things that never served me, that left me on the waiting list of a restaurant too bougie to let me sit. These things that pretended to know me. I'll burn this damn page before I invite this toxic energy into my living room again. I'll worship the flames like a crazy person. Watch them cook all that hurt me. I will pray while all my goodbyes turn crispy and can never change my molecular dopeness. Not in this lifetime, with the memo saved for the next. Nevermore. Despedida. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, one last short one so we can get it going. Last short one. The node to the baby poet in me. Here we go. When I am flooded in wax, I am too exhausted to dream on how to burn. Every muscle hurts. My shoulders weigh ancestral pounds of memories that still ache. I don't want them to know my name. Take me back to when I waited in the alley of a half-made stage. The house was falling apart, the curtains too thin to shield, and the crowd was standing room only. The energy there electrified their horrible mic. I don't want them to know my name. They used to remember the piece and forget my name. Let me exit quietly while the stage lights dim. I float back to poets on deck. They give me props and I quietly escape. I can't breathe. They want my oxygen. The wax fills my lungs. My shimmer becomes malnutrition and is starved for peace. What can I do when the same thing that keeps my heartstrings intact also rips them apart? Broken heart syndrome will forever play the wrong chords. From the stress of pouring more and more out of me and feeling the wax climb closer to my light. It makes my pen sticky sometimes. It makes people go away after they have taken a lifetime supply of the glow that they pocketed. They take, I give, they take, I give, I can't breathe. The wax covers my tongue and my tongue makes my words unable to sing. I need poetry, don't get me wrong. I need poetry, but I don't need fame. Poetry needs me, fame keeps no one. I tattoo every snap and bathe in the aroma of roses written in the chat for me, but the wax, my oxygen is leaving. Take me back to when we waited on an old mic in the alley, when Casa had not enough chairs, and the ones that were there felt perfectly broken, like every artist that loved them. They remembered the pieces and promised to forget my name. Some days I still dream of that beautiful flame. Thank you for that.
Holy ever loving shit.
God damn.
Yes. That was amazing.
Oh, poet. Whew. The mic just keeps getting hotter and hotter. I don't know, y'all. We may have to invent something new because a mic obviously cannot contain Tesoro women. Coming up next, fierce is what I think of when I see this woman work. Not when I look at her, not when I read about her, but when I see her work. She doesn't just come up on a mic. She inhales it and spits back pure truth, pure beauty, pure fire, pure, fierce poetry. Please welcome to the stage Maureen Medina.
Woo, let's go to Tesoro and Marie. Maureen, you gonna slay it. Woo! Yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Stacy and everyone. I am humbled. I am fucking terrified. I am in awe of all of you. Stacy said to dress up, so I'm wearing my fears out loud, literally. That's the name of my book. I'm going to share 3 pieces. The first piece is called I Rejoice. I wrote a book, everyone. It's blue and white. Blue because I was told that that's the color of warmth, welcome, trust. Blue because it's not just a color, but a state of mind, a flush of overwhelm or a safe embrace. Blue because that's the color of my body when I entered this world. Blue because it means I survived. And I still don't trust my survival. Blue and black, black and blue. See, trust is a two-way street. And when I look both ways, my mind goes blank. White, pristine, sanctuary, white because it's pure, a notion I struggle with, purity, a muzzle come undone. My honesty seen as perverse, but only to those who want to maintain their innocence. The book is thick like me, thick-skinned, mangled soul, I have weight on me. Secrets inside spilling out, sneaking in, infiltrating eyes and minds. See, that's transparency. Ordinary, extraordinary, my fears out loud. I rejoice. This next one was actually written in a pain workshop. First is the worst, second is the best. Adam came first, but he did not birth Eve from his rib cage. But see, she was conceived, birthed from preconceived notions of what we ought to be. My sacral chakra is for my sacred parts, my feminine and my fortitude. They divide and conquer us, to divide and conquer us in this raging inferno, orange rapture, jasper, and what is a fire without water to quench its life, guzzling, drowning, waning and waxing, that time of the month when I reek and swell, I am a woman, or so my body tells me. Inheriting the strength of witches, the executioner has no name, but we know what he looks like. Fear, you are my friend, living in my feet, my hips, my breath, my breathing is strained and still I live. And as I live, I ache, and my ache shows me I'm alive. This pain, a badge you don't earn but are born into. Ride the waves or be swallowed by them. I do what I can to stay afloat.
Yes.
And then this last piece, so on March 16, 2021, a content warning, it was one of countless hate crimes in the US in which 8 people were destroyed in Atlanta in a spa. And it took this travesty for me to acknowledge my internalized racism and my hate for myself and my people, and to truly want to know who the hell I am and where I come from. So I'm just gonna put their names in the chat real quick. And call this irony, call this honesty. It's called I am the exception. I am the exception, I'd say. I thought that this admission, this rejection of self made me exceptional, but it only made me complicit. Asian or American, you won't let me be both. Internalized racism, another cog in the system, white supremacy, at it again. I am the exception. I'm not like most Asians. I am loud and boisterous. I have a Spanish last name. I get real dark in the summer. My hair is thick and wavy. I don't have Asian friends. I'm not like most Asians. I am the exception. I am fluent in English, conversant in other languages, but I don't know my own. I'm not like most Asians. I am the exception. I don't date Asian men. They're too feminine, small dicks, and do they even know Kung Fu? You fetishize me the way I cancel them. I'm not like most Asians. I am the exception. I am not submissive. I am not invisible, but I am weighed down and battered by generations of trauma where self-harm was a form of survival. I am the exception. That's what I say because that's what I've been told. But I will not hate myself. I will not hate at all. I will love myself enough to unlearn and then learn that there is more to me than being othered. There is more to us than being exceptional. There is history of violence and hate crimes, colonizers and erasure. There is history of division amongst people of color that they cultivated. There is history of rebellion, unity, uprisings, and success. There is history of warriors, healers, nurturers, survivors. Terrorists only see color, but their lack of vision enhances ours. We see through the smoke, and there is glory to be found. In the richness of our cultures, our victories, big and small. In our friendships, allies, and the fact that we are still here. Their hate is overwhelming, but it is not enough. So the next time they dare to other me, the next time they hide behind my resilience, I will say, I am not the exception. I am your greatest fear, proof that you will never win. Wala kang hiya. Alam mo ba kung sino ako? Awan babae niyo. Amamo no sino ak? I am Filipina American. My dad is from Manila and my mom is from Ilocos City. I am proud of my roots and I am me in my entirety. Pagtatangsit ko tinagapuak. Adaak ito'y nag-agnanayon. Puring-puri ako sa nino ako. Habang buhay, nandito ako. Thank you all so much.
Beautiful set, Maureen. Beautiful set.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, my heart. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful set. Coming up next, I talked to you guys about fangirling, a little bit before. This woman I spend 90% of my time fangirling on. She is like no one that I have ever encountered, and like everyone that I have ever encountered poetically. She has the ability to take me back to places and parts of my heart that I have forgotten about. And it's not just me. I've seen her do this with audiences since I met her, since I was lucky enough to meet her. She is just 100% incredible. And that's all there is to be said about it. Please welcome to the Tesoro stage, Diane Murray Ward.
Yes,
Yes,
Diane.
Thank you so very much. I have 3 short pieces I'd like to share with you this evening. I cannot fly without my soul for guidance. My history of journeying resides within my soul. I soar within landscapes configured for my growth, my wisdom building. I land on terrain, at first foreign, then friendly. I cannot fly without my soul, because my landings are always airborne, light, at least some elemental gas or liquid, because if I drown into it only temporarily, my soul is my thought preserver, my sense of belonging somewhere and everywhere is all journeys are. And so I fly with my soul, and whether scared or shy, bemused or desperate, these lessons build me and nurture me for the work I'm still meant to achieve. That's the first piece. Heart's desire. My heart's desire is to keep pumping properly, all the valves in sync, blood flowing in their prescribed directions, zero grade plaque, all of the red ready and fully oxygenated, and the blue waiting to get oxygenated like American politics. My heart's desire is to keep the freedoms I earned, yes, earned. My heart's desire is both internal and external. There is no more I could say about biology and circulation and environmental impact. I'll save that for now, but you know it's coming. So, well, I may not be your heart's desire. I have so many more than you that believe in me, my voice, and my heart. The last piece I'm going to read is, what's your baby's name, bright love? This child I see. Yet how many go missing that we would prefer to shake our heads solemnly, shoulder shrug away, and tend to forget. This child I see. You would rather forget, unless this child shares your last name, was a cousin on your mama's side, was a neighbor, packed your groceries, washed your car for spending money, or attended the same camp as your kids? Or this child you had an affair with and you knew they were minor. Oh, wrong audience? I had an accountability moment, thought you might want to entertain. This child I see has a name. It's not whore, trash, worthless, rag, or waste of space. Not named mistake. Not I hate your daddy and too bad you look just like him. Not named money ticket. Not earn your keep, and not dummy. This child I see deserves attention, but unfortunately, too often resorts to negative behavior to get attention, because some attention is better than none in their eyes. So who is pathetic? This child I see can't envision a future beyond this present pain, repeating itself over again and again with different authors from different sound bites, biting at their hide, their minds, their psyches. This child I see either puts on a brave face or shirks away, deeper and deeper away from the world. For all this child knows of the world is a formula of use and abuse. Let's not lose them. This child is one of many we must retrieve from being devalued by marketers, traffickers, and from some their own treacherous, wayward, and generationally wounded families. Tell each child they have potential, are brightness, are beautiful, are lovable and loved. Whisper that in the next abused child's ear and take their hand towards healing and hope. Pay attention and act and report, and don't stop aiding the children we all see. Please. Thank you.
Wow. Amazing.
Oh my goodness, the hits just keep on coming. And I may not live past this afternoon, but it's okay. I'll go out smiling. Y'all are hurting my heart. My goodness. Next up, this lady, how do I describe her words? They don't really do anything special. They just dance across paper and heart. That's all. She is fired with the need for clarity. And I don't know that there is anything better that can be said about a poet. Please welcome to the mic, Ellen Weber.
Hello, everyone.
Yes.
An amazing lineup this has been. Thank you all so much. So I'm going to read mostly new poems, one poem from my book. So first poem is Our Lady of Apocalypse, starting with a line by Tracy Brimhall. Imagine half the world ends and half the world continues, bathed in flames. A country made wretched by heretics who root the soil, whose ashes have inked black the eyelids of a fatal woman. I have tasted at the earth beneath her heels, as if the berries she has crushed beneath them were libation for a starving god. She moves like a trail of smoke. She listens with a body that is a door to exile. Tell me, pilgrim, that her hands are condemned animals. Tell me her smile is an open grave, so I will not slice her song across the throat of every sailor dredged on the beach. Imagine I do this instead of bringing her the dead men with blistered skins and maps tattooed upon them. Imagine I do not watch her feed. Do not grow jealous of their salvation. I have a fugitive heart. I live, I trespass, obedient to all that is raw and wailing. You seek absolution, knock-kneed and penitent, as if she would choose to save you. Hold your prayers. Can't you see it? Heaven is already here.
Yes. All the yeses on that.
Thank you. Second poem is called In These Days. We pick at the blue veins snaking our wrists, our breasts as dark a river as any oil on earth. We dig to find what our heartbeats know to be true. Grow heavy-breathed, smearing red dust upon our thighs to bury the landing place where unwanted sons and daughters may be delivered. Should the ground break beneath our feet and leave us senseless from our obedience to the law. We gather at the river, wringing our clothes in our hands, backs bent like oxen over what will rip at the seams when our bellies bloat, when we wax round like pomegranates before the bursting, before we vanish into syllables of blood and poppies and become what we want to forget. So that poem was written in response to certain abortion laws that happened recently. So this next poem is the one that is from my book, thinking about life without motherhood. There are women who hold skulls. There are women who hold skulls like the children they cannot carry, clamping chatter-teeth ivory around strangleholds of neck and breast, murmuring out the wild moans of forest deer in wolf jaw. There are women who slide fingers through eye sockets, drink wine from skull caps, swishing blood in round circles. They take their feasts in tents, on rugs of fur, gold rings on every finger. These are the black-nailed daughters of sirens moved inland, where lounges fill with the pomegranate smoke of their breathing. These are the knife-fight fools of the alleyways, the crystal globe diviners, the cold-hearted kick and cackles of the nighttime. There are women who hold skulls of the children who failed to be born, bursting into blood muck by moonlight, slipping through stained fingers and pitched into pyres, hollow-eyed and paying no debts to sorrow. They are never to feel remorse, never to feel hearts beating double in their bodies. And the last one, I'll end off with a love poem. It's called I Want to Sleep. I Don't Want to Sleep. In my dreams, I become someone you do not want to lose. I curl into your dark left hand, as round and fragrant as a lemon plucked from the wild. You roll me from palm to palm like a pendulum. I say yes. No. Hold me again to your grave and I will answer questions you'll never ask in the daylight. Repeat confessions you make when we are alone. It is impossible to rearrange my body in this way. Spill divination, praise the dreadful death growing ripe in my sternum, a hard bone jutting through the skin, a rattling bag of marrow, split runes. If ever you thought to put your faith in the shrapnel of me, I would empty myself of language and lie down beside you. For it is only there where you touch my face. Only there I become feral and obscene against each sigh you undress. I am starving in this dream, light-headed with wrecked wisdom and knowledge of your ghosts. Do you understand? I want to be what vanishes when you do. Thank you all so much.
I feel like I just drowned in your poetry and so much in awesomeness. That
Stop
was so deep.
it.
Thank
Stop
you.
it. Oh my word. Okay. Moving on. I'm so glad we were able to get this poet here. It's been a minute. And we have missed her. The scene has missed her. Because not only is she bright and knowing and intelligent in her work, she is necessary. The way she conducts herself through her work and her words is necessary. It is basic. It is needed. And I couldn't be happier that she is gracing our stage today. Please welcome to the mic, Gigi.
Hello.
Yes.
Woo! Woo! Please know all it took to get me here was Stacy sending me a set list saying you're up on spot 20 and I was like, okay. So here I am. Did I actually sign up? I can't tell you, but I will come when Stacy calls. So here I am. Okay, I have just like 3 little poems. So yeah. All right. This first one is called Quiet. Sorry, I also have all my animals cuddled up next to me. I inherited 3 cats and I have a pit bull, so it's a full house where I am. Quiet. I'm searching for words under altars in parking lots. What do you call someone who's religious with no God? Other than a soft-spoken prayer whispered on the end of a cigarette in a car, am I resilient or just too lazy to give up because movement and motion is less effort than stopping? I'm searching for a word under tongue still sour from communion. What do you call a person who's religious with no one listening other than a child in a home with parents too busy? Not that they don't care, but sometimes they can't listen to every little thing. I'm searching for words, hands raw from praying. What do you call someone who's religious without a God? Anything other than abandoned, anything other than what I'm used to after dating a man, disappointed, unlistened to, and fucked without consent. I'm searching for words on bloodstained knees. What do you call someone who's religious without a God? I'd like to know what to call myself and where to kneel for my next confessional. So that was the first one. This
Hell yeah.
one, thank you. This one I've read probably in a few open mics, but it's one of my favorites because I used to live in the Midwest and now I'm back in Massachusetts. This one's called Roadkill. I think about the first time I saw a deer in Minnesota on the side of the road. In the Midwest, no one stops for pedestrians, let alone deer. I think about the time my car slid off the road and went into a snowbank. No one stopped to help me, just maneuvered around me. I am now the deer. I am now the thing to be passed by. I remembered when I was 18 and pulled my car over, when I saw a car crash into a tree and noticed the driver was seizing. I stopped traffic and pulled her body out of the car, and a man laid on his horn while just watching me annoyed, and I told him to either fucking help me or go around. I don't know why I thought of her in that moment, but I knew that there wouldn't be anyone there for me. The first time I saw a living deer in Minneapolis, the irony, iron bars to the cemetery, I saw them eating grass over graves off of Lake Street. And I think about my grave. If there will be any deer over it, or if it will be what is left on the side of the road, if there will be nothing but bones and dirt, nothing to even be recognizable, nothing to be remembered, not even the outline of a deer, of a body, of a woman. What is it like when you're the one who pulls bodies out of cars, but no one to call in emergencies, no one to call when your car crashes or when you're in the emergency room alone? I think about the first time I saw a living deer in Minneapolis, and I wonder if I am them, if I'm living in the cemetery, or if I will be roadkill. Then, this is, thank you. This one I always have to read because this one's inspired by Stacy. This one's called Gold Throat. Where is talent? What if you're not born with it? What if it's birthed from a womb that couldn't nurture it, from the bearing of rawness from the clenching of jaws? What if poetry is not something to create, but something to capture, to hold it down and put it on a page and encapsulate it? I was told my poetry is not polished. It's rough like hands of people who work. My poetry is one of unearthing gravesides. Sorry, my dog's. I'm so sorry. My dog just like breathed and like stood up. Sorry. Can I start this one over again? Is that cool? Thank you. I live a chaotic life. All right, Gold Throat. Where is talent? What if you're not always born with it? What if it's birthed from a womb that couldn't nurture it? From the bearing of rawness from the clenching of jaws? And what if poetry is something to create, but to capture, to hold it down and put it on a page and encapsulate it? I was told my poetry is not polished. It's rough like hands of people who work. My poetry is one of unearthing gravesides as I unbury relatives so you can see them. I've heard polished poetry is boring. I didn't have the time to polish my grief in between the measuring morphine doses of a dying mother and father. I only had the rawness of words, the beating of grief. I write poetry for those who know it doesn't get better, it gets different, and that's okay. If someone tells me there's a silver lining, I hope it's one made of wire so I can strangle you with it. A woman told me I am a woman with gold in her throat, and I wonder if that's why I'm always choking on every fucking word and emotion. Did I ever have a lisp, or maybe I just never learned to not speak in stanzas? I am a woman with unrefined gold in my throat. I'm not polished. No, I'm accessible. For you to get the message, it's okay that grief won't ever go away. It doesn't get better. It gets different. And there's still company for the living. There's still gold to be found. Thank you, everyone.
Yes. Yes.
Boom. That's it. That's all that needs to be said. Moving right along. This lady is a musician, and it shows in her work and her words and her way. I met her in El Paso. So many interesting things and people in El Paso. And I loved hearing her words because they echoed who she is when she's on the keyboard. It echoed who she is when she is singing. Please welcome to the stage, Christine Ponce Diaz.
Oh my God, Christine!
Yes. Woo! Yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. This piece is called, sometimes I have words. This piece is called The Trail of Women He Left Behind. Ruby red blood dripping down the side of my mother's young, beautiful face. It all started as a normal day in the house, playing with my pastel-colored Legos. So many things to build and so much to design. I was often lost in my imagination, thinking of what could be. Imagining a world where people didn't. My dad was in the TV room yelling, complaining that my mom needed to close the door to the bathroom because he couldn't hear the TV while she was blow drying her hair. She had enough of his demands, his control, his jealousy, and his violence. She was done that day. Inside her must have been that roaring lion, groaning silently within her, waiting to come out and protect us from him. She simply said no. That day left me wondering if he had ever heard such a word. She told him, "You close the door to the TV room if the sound is bothering you. The bathroom is hot and I'm keeping the door open." She grew that day. She advocated for a need that she had. She spoke up for herself regardless of the hell he created that day. I kept trying to think of what to build and I couldn't focus anymore. A few days prior to this, I was watching my mom fry an unstable, explosive egg in a pan while she and my dad argued. I don't remember what they were arguing about. I couldn't hear anything other than the sound of my racing heart and worried thoughts that the hot egg would jump out of the pan and burn someone. I didn't want anyone to get hurt emotionally or physically. Everything happened when I was 4 years old. I felt a deep growing need in me to protect my parents from the dangers of that violent egg popping loudly in the pan. It seemed as if it was a warning to them of its dangerous relationship with the hot oil, if they wouldn't listen to it. I noticed the mounting tension, but I couldn't hear words. I just heard the egg popping and getting louder and angrier. The shouting stopped, and I don't remember what happened to the egg. No one got burned that day. The day she told him no and didn't close the bathroom door was the last day we stayed in that house. It was the last day we lived together, and I never looked back. The day of the fight, I was in the living room adjacent to the bathroom and the TV room. I saw him get up, go into the bathroom, and as the shouting got louder and louder, I tried to keep up with my Lego building plans. I tried to stay out of the way. I don't know if experience trained me to stay away from shouting people or if it was just me being guided by instinct. I heard a loud crash and I came running to the bathroom. My eyes were glued to my mother, who had fallen back first into the bathtub with the shower curtain rod in her lap. I lost the memory of where my dad was that day. Nothing else other than my mom mattered in that moment. The egg exploded and she got burned. She was bleeding from her temple and didn't have the strength to get up. She was draped in blood on the shower curtain. I just looked back at her, and she looked back at me and just extended her arm out. As I got closer, I noticed her eyes were closing, slowly, as she was holding her arm out to me. I ran to the phone she pre-programmed and used to train me for emergencies. I remembered my emergency training, dutifully picked up the phone, and pressed the first button. I don't remember my words. I just remember the silence coming from my dad's mom on the other end of the phone. I have no other memory of that day. Years later, in discussing this with my mom and asking what happened, she said I also pressed the second button and called her best friend. Her best friend instructed me to hide in the closet until the police arrived. I have no other memory of that conversation, the closet, the police, or where my dad was. I never knew what happened to my Legos after that day, but I never wanted them back. Thank you.
Wow. Wow.
Yes.
If y'all
Thank
make
you,
me cry
Christina.
on screen, there will be hell to pay. That's all I'm saying. I'm just going to leave that right there. The next artist, again, I don't get to hear her nearly enough, but I love it when I do. The stories that she tells and the way that she tells them, the way she sings her way through her life, the unmitigated joy in her syllables, the truth in everything that she says. All of this overlaid by just the sheer magic of who she is as a poet. This is what makes her invaluable, and this is what makes her Tesoro. Please welcome to the stage Onyx H2O.
Come on, Onyx. Come on, Onyx. Woo, let's go.
I'm trying to find myself after that one. Listen. Finding, processing. My God. Okay. Wow. It's an honor to be here. It's an honor to be here. I have died many times in this life, making graveyards easy, like a Sunday morning kind of memorial service. In my front yard, I was taught what breeds grave dangers, how a slow roll, accompanied by a quick switch, off goes headlights, catching some heads, right? What looks like flames from dark windows at tender age, I knew what followed. Find ground before a bullet finds me, before a graveyard finds me. Stay down until the brake lights are gone. It's no wonder why my regard for life was light. Why visions of me beyond age 16 escaped me, I couldn't see me. Believe death sent search party when graveyards felt more like home, because I know where all of the bodies are buried, even in someone else's garden. This place of empty had become sacred land. My backyard is where I buried my heart and called it home, for if home is where the heart is, then there it is safe among the dead, comfortable among the death that grew green grass, where cement wings were mere place markers for suicidal tendencies, homicidal theories, almost dreams and mishaps, now only memories. God found me in my place of empty, delivered me, spoke promise into my womb, and I birthed life. The moment the moment his little eyes found mine, I understood why. He gave me new sight, a fresh wind, blowing oil in a spacious place. He set my feet. I didn't know then what I know now, how my place of empty, the pastures in my backyard were for me to lie in this life, in his peace, as he leads me beside the still waters, that my kitchen table wasn't meant but just feast and family, and that every dark valley, he remains at my side, neither left nor forsaken, covered in the blood of the Lamb, while his grace sufficiently keeps me. A little lighter, a little lighter. The next man I love, I pray he'll be my husband, divinely chosen just for me, a kingdom man, his steps perfectly ordered, hands sanctified for God's work. He'll find me in his prayers, know me at first glance, and if there's any question, you'll find me twinkling in his eyes. This is to my future husband. I imagine being close to you, like really close to you. Like sometimes it isn't enough to just be next to you. I hope you don't mind, but I want to wear your clothes. With you still in them. Did you hear me say close? I mean, close, like deliriously close, because being next to you isn't always enough. Maybe it's a bit crazy, but sometimes I want to be in your skin with you. I said maybe it's a bit crazy, but sometimes I want to be in your skin with you. Did I mention I want to be close to you? Most days, I'll gladly accept skin to skin time as enough. I'll feed as you suckle, read bedtime stories and proverbs, let these scriptures tuck us in. I want to be close to you. And when you fall into prayer position, let me be the cushion your knees rest upon. And when we're apart, I wear your cologne just to throw other men off my scent. I'm yours. Shower me in your love while I bathe you in warm coconut springs. For myself, into a glass for you. This drunken love is of sober mind. Sip me slow, breathe me deep. I want to linger in your throat, hold every hair in your nostrils. I want to be close to you. Thank you so much.
That was amazing.
Woo, yes. Powerful though.
Our last poet, I'm not going to waste superlatives. I'm not going to try and describe her. I'm not going to do anything but lay my tongue to the truth, which is if you want electricity, if you want knowledge, if you want pain and passion and fire all at the same time, this is where you go. Welcome to the Tesoro stage, Shocky G.
Shocky.
Get it, Shocky. Yes.
Get it. Get it.
All right. Are you guys able to hear me? Okay.
Yes, we are.
All right. So my first piece is called Black Magic. They say us Black girls are supposed to know magic. Lately, I've been trying to make myself disappear. Standing in the mirror, screaming, abracadabra. Hold on. Abracadabra. Abracadabra. But I'm still here. Maybe it is because I never learned my mother's tongue, so it doesn't sound like the right incantation. You would think with all this melanin, I could just blend into the back darkness around me. But somehow I still find a way to shine. They say, show us a trick. Watch how I pretend I'm fine. How I pull a smile out of a hat. But my biggest trick is trying to saw this woman in half. I haven't quite mastered that yet. But I can swallow swords and breathe fire. At least once, if you ignore the blood. But you're good at that, aren't you? I've seen you do the trick so often, I've learned your sleight of hand. The way you make ghosts of living dreams. A magician with a deck, the way the cards always fall in your favor. And here I am, breaking chains and busting barriers like I be escape artist. Marvel at my superhuman strength. But lately I feel like I'm fading away. Abracadabra, crumbling into nothing, abracadabra, screaming out and no one can hear me, abracadabra. Is it still considered magic if you disappear and no one notices? Or did they just convince us we were magic so they could pretend we didn't exist? Maybe the real trick is seeing all of this for what it actually is. And this second piece came out of the shooting tragedies that have been occurring over the last 2 years. When the tragedy hits, I say I am sorry because I don't know what else to say. Then they ask, but don't you call yourself a poet? Ain't you got a way with words? Can't you balloon animal twist this into something pretty just to make us smile? They don't understand that apologies don't quite bend. They break, shatter like glass under the weight of gravity, that thoughts and prayers are filled with helium and hot air, but they tend to float away long before they're useful. How do I tell them losing another child has made my stomach sour, that there is no way for sweet to come off my tongue? That I hurt the same way they do. This body, a sadness factory, pumping out pain, there is something to be said about industrialization. How we assembly line protests like the revolution is up for sale. Like we bought our freedom at a discount, settled for 20 acres, you can keep the mule, we've had enough horse shit anyway. And that's capitalism for you. Says if you produce it, it's worth something. So we barrel our tears for cents on the gallon, hoping to make change. Because talk is cheap anyway, I guess. That's why it sounds like we're bargaining for our lives. How everything is cheap compared to a bullet. How each one can cost a life, a future, our own sanity. Grief ricochets off the walls the bullets miss, knocking over memories. And this one, I have more than eulogies to write. Tie my heart in a balloon knot to make everyone else happy. Try to build something beautiful, the same way the coroner tries to put the pieces back before the open casket. But even if you remove every bullet, our loved ones never look the same. Okay, and then this last piece, I hope I have enough time, I'll make it really quick. And it's called What If All Rain Were Acid Rain? Is it still personification if my anxiety is a mother bird? I am part hummingbird and part cardinal sin. My anxiety causes my hands to flutter, shake with no sense of control, like tiny wings. Often I feel like gravity is holding me down, but I am noticing I have been hurtling towards the ground, thrown from the nest. And maybe this was all practice for flying. So I flutter till the ground becomes a memory, and the clouds, they feel like home, nowhere close to landing. But these clouds are dark gray. So don't mistake this poem for positivity, but it could always be worse. There's a different kind of escape between the raindrops, like air when you've been underwater. but isn't it kind of amazing learning to fly and swim at the same time? Thank you.
Yes.
Chalky.
Way to close the night. Holy sh.
Y'all open up your mics and let it rip.
Let's go, Sharky.
Everybody,
Let's
yes.
This has been one of the signal experiences of my life. And I have had a very nice life with a lot of lovely things happening, but this definitely ranks up in the top 5. I cannot, as cliche as it is, I truly cannot thank you all enough for who it is that you are and what it is that you do. Our second year is going to be even more electric and amazing and incandescent than our first. And we will still be carrying on like this when we do this for our 20th anniversary.
Woo,
I'm going to
yes.
ask y'all, like I said, give yourselves, open up your mics, give yourselves one more mad round of applause. And then I've got a little something to take us out with.
Yes. Everybody did a great job. Power fire singers.
Okay, I want all of you to take this to heart because I wrote this ages before I knew any of you. But it is for you. It sings for you. A butterfly trembled along the edge of my finger. I will get in trouble for this poem because so many people are so invested in me bearing the standard of my culture and gender, including me. Convinced that my life is not meant to be separate, that my strength, my resolutions are half of what holds the world together, the way and why of how I love is the other half. A Cassandra birthed by perseverance, attitude, and the lyricism of a million different promises. I do not have the luxury of saying no thank you. And if the battle sounds ceaseless and unending, that's because it is. But sometimes I have to breathe just for me, sing just for me, and ignore the fire news from all my sister girls' battlefields. Be beautiful, be intelligent just for me. And today, a butterfly landed and trembled along the edge of my finger, and the world did not fall down, and the world did not fall down, and the world did not fall down. I know, I know, I know. I should be fighting, praying, working. I understand what I owe my life as a Black woman. I understand the call in my blood toward gospel-stained windows and pews washed in sunlight and salvation. I know I owe my career, my life to the women who knelt in those pews or ones like them after a day of being on their knees, feeding their children, patting their backs, thighs, and shoulders so that that sack of groceries did not cut and chafe, so that that child had one soft place to lay down her head, so that they could relieve the ache of holding up the sky and half the world every now and again. Lord, I know there is a debt to be honored. I know. I know. But today, a butterfly trembled along the edge of my finger, and I took a breath, and the world did not fall down, and the world did not fall down, and the world did not fall down. I should be on my knees, praying till angels' wings are broken from the exhaustion of carrying my messages. I should be marching, marching, marching in a tide of righteousness against people who will not acknowledge the rights of others or think they own other folks' decisions. I should be on stages, shouting my truth, singing my hopes, telling stories for the brains and hearts worldwide who are empty, aching, hungry for a chance to speak. And I do, I will, I shall, like every other woman in this world. We do, we will, we shall. But some days, not many. Some days, a butterfly, shivering color and light and scented of small miracles, falls gently out of the sky and explores an entire world in the palm of your hand. And just 1 minute. Between one stroke and the next, you can hear your song for just 1 minute, your heart beating for just 1 minute, your soul warming just enough to take you through the day for just 1 minute. Breathe. Breathe. Breathe, sister. Breathe, warrior. Breathe, mother, daughter, love. Accept the blessing. Just stop. Let a butterfly tremble along the edge of your finger. The children will be fed, work get done, your loves loved. It will be done because it has always been done. You know this. Accept this. Stop for just that one moment. Stop. Breathe for just that one moment. Stop. Breathe for just that one moment. Stop. Breathe for just that one moment. And the world will not fall down, and the world will not fall down, and the world will not fall down. Tesoro, you are amazing. Thank you, loves. Thank you, the folks who tuned in.
Wow.
We're going to keep doing this until we can't do it anymore. Open your mics, blow it up.
Beautiful.
Beautiful. Those beautiful
Thank you,
poems.
Stacey.
Yes, thank you so much for holding space. Let's go to Tesoro.
Tesoro.
I know you all are tired, especially our overseas folks, so I'm going to let you go. This will be on, excuse me, on YouTube as a sell item only. So, as you know, excuse me, y'all truly took my voice and my breath away. So you'll get more details on that later. Keep an eye on the page, keep an eye on your Instagram, keep an eye on your emails, because we're going to cause so much trouble in the next 365. I love you all. Take it easy.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, ladies.